Hello, YouTubers, and welcome back to another episode of Freedom here on the Ohio Patriot Education Network YouTube channel. I'm, as always, your host here, the Ohio Patriot. And for today's episode, we're going to talk about Indian call centers and my new hat. Specifically, my please be patient. I have autism and a gun in my pocket. Which is only half true at this point. I just have the autism right now. But yeah, I can see the hat get me in trouble at some point if need be. Maybe, I don't know. But yeah, it's just, I'll tell you what, it's been a day, man. I was supposed to have a medication delivered like over a week ago now, and then they called me up. I think it was Monday, and I meant to call them back Monday, but then by the time I got to calling them back, whatever, it would have been too late to get it through the call center on that day. Is what it was, because they're only open Monday to Friday, or maybe it's like Monday to Saturday or something like that. But yeah, I was too late to call them up that day or whatever, and so I was like, okay, I'll call them Tuesday or whatever. Totally nodded off in the chair here for many hours is what it was, and ended up waking up like again too late to call them. So I was like, all right, fuck it, I'll go give them a call Wednesday morning. So it is. So that's what ended up happening then. So I have my stuff set up to be delivered here today because it takes like a whole day to like get it at the facility or wherever it comes from. And then it's like the second day is basically when it comes to me is what it is here. So I'm like, okay, cool, it'll be here, Friday is what it is. And so I'm waiting this morning because I ended up waking up. I took about 3 to 5 hour nap someplace in there in my bed last night, and I woke up about midnight last night. That's about 5 hours, just like give or take. I was in there for maybe 6 even. I wasn't sleeping the entire time, but I was like just laying on my bed is what was there. So yeah, I ended up waking up about like midnight or so last night because the stupid trains came through again. And then I guess it ended up this morning, and then ended up sitting here waiting for my meds. I'd taken a shower and everything like that. And about 10-ish this morning, I get this random call from this other company that apparently is all about like the perishable shipments, which is what my thing is, obviously, telling me that, oh, your stuff's not going to be delivered today because it's stuck in Memphis, Tennessee at a FedEx facility and won't be delivered till Monday. And I didn't think to ask the woman. I'm like, which I should have at the time because I didn't really think about it. It's like, just kind of threw me as what it was. I'm like, oh, okay. And then she just hung up as what it was. I ended up calling them back later, and I'm like, yeah, I just called your people just called me like a couple minutes ago. Like, I have questions here because it's like the meds in question have to be kept cold, and if they're not kept cold, they're only viable for 4 hours in the heat before they have to be basically thrown out. Is what it is. And I'm asking her that. I'm like, hey, like, this was supposed to be like an express shipment because of that reason. Is this going to be refrigerated at the facility or not? And her answer to me was no clue. So I'm like, okay, cool. Let me call the people that deal with the meds that actually sent them out and explain the situation to them. Of course, they're fucking Indian foreign nationals. What it is, I'm pretty sure it's a call center in India that it goes to. Is what it is. Which is so fucking dumb because it's like, dude, you could easily have a call center here in America and not have it be fucking retarded and actually have people speaking English to where I can understand them, not, hello, my name is, and it's like, their accent is so thick, I literally have to ask them the same question at least twice for me to be able to understand through their fucking thick-ass accent what it is. Which, that's another thing I don't understand. Like, I know there was a thing I saw here about 2 or 3 months ago now, probably, where it was some like CBS News article or something, or like something that they did there is what it was, where they were talking about using AI now to basically deal with that kind of crap, where you would have like, it would be like an AI cleanup tool or something like that, what it was, to where you'd have people who would be speaking in like that thick dialect or whatever, but the AI would do like a voice change thing where it would sound like they were an American, is what it is here. Like it would sound kind of similar. My voice is right now is what it is, which is a little gravelly and stuff like that. You get drink of water. But yeah, it'd be very similar to that though, where it'd be like, hey, it's like, my name is Andrew or something like that. But apparently they're not rolling out yet, is what it is. And so, long story short, I called the people this morning, and this is about, I think it was around 10 or so when I got the initial call from that other company telling me that, yeah, my stuff's not going to be delivered for like days now is what it is. And then it was maybe like 10:30-ish or so, 10:25, something like that, when I first called these people up is what it was. And then it almost sounded like somebody had picked up, but like nobody was saying anything. So I just, hung up and then called back again is what it was. So second call up, I get this dude that's obviously an Indian, with this kind of thicker accent. I'm trying to explain to him, this is before I even give him my name and stuff like that. I'm like, hey, I was supposed to have, this medication today. Like, it's being held up, like, what's the deal here? And I don't know if he just didn't want to deal with me at that point or what it was, because all of a sudden the phone goes dead. And I'm like, did this motherfucker just hang up on me? What the fuck, dude? And so I call back again, and I get this woman who, I feel like her name started with an H, but I'm not sure exactly how to pronounce it. It was like Harshadesh or something like that is what it was, or some stupid shit like that or whatever. Like some really weird Indian name. But anyway, so I am explaining the situation to her. I get my stuff together, get everything together, get everything going and stuff like that. And I'm trying to explain to her, like, what's going on here. And I'm like, hey, like, here's the deal. Like, I literally just got a call from this company. And she's like, oh, what's the company? And I'm like, they call themselves Paraship is what it is. But by the way, I had to look it up because it didn't even tell me who the fuck they were. When they called me up, they're just like, hey, this is about your, like, when I got that original call from that person this morning, they're like, hey, this is about your delivery from FedEx is what it is. It's being delayed in Tennessee, there's what it is. And I'm like, oh, okay. And then I look at the number after the fact, and I found it was this company called Paraship is what it is, which apparently is about like perishable product is what it is there, which is what the shot is, honestly. Because like I said, if it's out in the warm for 4 hours or more, it's done, dude. Like you have to basically send another file at that point, what it is then, because it's almost like what do you call that? It's like the stuff for type 1 diabetes and things like that, where it has to be refrigerated constantly, is what it is. Otherwise, it's no good, basically. So, because even when I take this stuff, it's supposed to be out for like a half hour or so, and like no more than an hour before I take it. So, yeah, like basically it's room temperature is what it is there, so it can get like to room temperature and it doesn't affect your internals is what it is there. And so I'm like, okay, cool, like and so I'm basically trying to explain to her, like, hey, you guys are probably going to need to ship me out another shipment is what it is here, this stuff, because this one's obviously not going to be here in time, and, like, it's going to be, and, like, I'm trying to tell her, I'm like, hey, it's at this facility in Memphis, it's not going to be here today, and she's basically like, oh, no, on my end, it's showing me that this is, in fact, going to be delivered by 1:30 today, and I'm like, and I'm telling you that literally I just got a call within the last half hour, and, like, this is basically exactly what I was saying to her, and, like, in that tone of voice is what it is. And I'm like, hey, I just got this call within the last half hour, and I'm telling you, like, these people that called me up that were like the in-between person or whatever for FedEx or whatever it was there, told me that this is not going to be delivered till Monday. And I know for a fact that with the ice packs that are in this thing right now, there is no way that this lasts in a hot-ass facility for 3 days. So what's the deal here? And then she's basically giving me the same spiel over again of like, oh, well, it's going to be delivered today no matter what. And I'm like, I don't know how long I was on the phone with her for, maybe like 10 minutes or so. But it got to the point where I got very, very angry is what it was. And I specifically told her, I'm like, hey, I was like, okay, well, I'm going to take you at your word on this one. But I'm going to let you know right now, if this shit is not here, because I was like, I am sick and tired of this fucking shit. And if this is not here, no. Sorry, that was the last cool thing I said. Yeah, I was like, I was like, if this is not here by 1:30, I'm gonna call you guys up again, and I'm gonna bitch out somebody because I'm sick and fucking tired of this shit. And literally, as soon as I said that, the phone went dead. So I'm assuming she was just like not having it at that point, or what it was. Because the thing is, like, I feel like she was acting very unprofessional at that point because I'm trying to explain to her the situation, and I understood that, like, on her end, it says this thing about it being in Memphis and like on its way or whatever the case be. But it's like I'm telling her that too as well. I'm like, I'm literally looking at the FedEx tracking right now, and it says this thing right now, lady. And I get it says the exact same thing on your end, wherever you're at. But what I'm telling you is, obviously, I've gotten a call today from this other company that's like the go-between or whatever, and they told me it's not going to be here for days now. Like, how are you going to resolve this, basically? And she didn't resolve shit of what it was. So, and then of course, when I looked at the thing here soon before I got on here today, of course it was updated now as of like 5:15 this afternoon. That yeah, it's not going to be here until Monday at some point. So I guarantee that's going to come warm and it's not going to be viable unless they're putting it in a refrigerator facility there in the FedEx thing. I guarantee that's not happening right now. Because even when I talked to the second woman at this parachute place, when I called them back, I was asking her the question. I was like, hey, like, what about the viability of this? And she's like, well, it's in this, like, the way she was basically saying was they're like packing like a giant thing or whatever. So she's like, it could be good, it could not be good. Like, I don't know. So I'm so worried right now. And I think what I'm gonna have to do is I'm gonna call them up tomorrow actually and see if their thing even picks up or not. Because I feel like it's Monday to Friday at their end place, but I'm not sure on that one because I know when I tried to deal with them last week over this whole thing, because apparently the whole fucking deal started was I should have got this last week, honestly, and it was ready to be delivered last week and everything like that. But yeah, these dumb motherfuckers then were all like, well, we need the authorization thing before everything, whatever the case be. And I'm like, you have it, dude. Like, you've had it this whole time. Like, what the hell? And then I'm going to call up my doctors on the other day is what it is. So it may end up being a situation, too, where I just end up calling them up. And then if I can't get a hold of them tomorrow, I may just call my doctor's office tomorrow and leave a message there, too, and be like, hey, this is, so-and-so. Like, these people obviously don't care, at least on my end anyway. Is there any way that you guys could potentially call them up on my behalf and have them just send it to me as what it is then? Because this is getting ridiculous. Like, basically authorize like a second shipment is what it is there, because if this first one is obviously not viable, which I don't think it will be, because I guarantee if I open this, if it does come like Monday morning and stuff, and I open that package, and it is like all the ice packs are melted, and I'm like touching the medication feels like room temperature and stuff like that, I'm not taking it, dude, because I'm not going to risk my health and my safety over this crap. Because this is absolutely retarded to begin with. Because as far as I'm aware, every other time that this stuff has been shipped to me, whether it be at this address, which has been a couple times now, I think shipped me at this address now, and then back in my mom's old place, I have never once had this problem. Because as far as I'm aware, when I was tracking these shipments, it always went New York to New Jersey to someplace here in Ohio, and then to me where I'm at. And now all of a sudden with this last one, it goes New York, New Jersey, Memphis, Tennessee, and gets stuck in Memphis, Tennessee. And I'm like, why the fuck was Tennessee even a fucking option there, dude? Like, why are you sending it through a third state when it doesn't need to be sent through a third state? Like, it should literally go dun, dun, dun. You know, I mean, if it goes through PA, that's one thing, but like, again, like, you know, it's asinine as fuck. And I looked up and I meant to see out the fact what was there, and apparently, it's because they're a giant shipping hub, and I don't know, like, I don't know if it was just the package got fucked up and stuff, which I could easily see being the case, honestly, on that one, especially if they're throwing like fragile shit around or whatever. Because I think that woman that said about at the parachute place that was talking about it being like what she was telling was like a big ass wrap of thing is what it is. I don't think that's the case at all, honestly. And like I said, I'm very very concerned about this just because of the fact that I've gotten one of these before, and this is at my mom's old place, where when it actually did get delivered, it was not only barely cold, it was all the ice packs had basically melted down to where they were just like cool at that point, and they were you could see like condensation on what it was there, and that was only after like a day or so. So the fact that like, or maybe it was 2 days actually. I'm trying to remember because I feel like it was like maybe a slight delay or something like that, and it was like that Saturday or something like that. What it was beforehand or something at one of the old times like a year or two ago, or no, it would have been longer than that. It would have been maybe like 2.5 years ago, 3 years ago, something like that, somewhere in there when I was getting this stuff. But the whole point is, though, is that it would have been a situation there where I would have had this stuff previously, and it would have only been like within like 24 hours or so, or 48 hours or so, to where it almost became non-viable at that point. Where if this stuff is sitting in the facility now for 3 more days, or even like 2.5 more days is what it would be then, because it might be like Monday morning is what it is then. Like, there's no way this is gonna be viable, dude. Because like that's what I was explaining to her. Because you like, she like going back to the woman at the Indian call center there for this company is what it was. And I know, and supposedly I guess those calls are supposed to be recorded or something like that. If they are, like, if anybody listens to that call, like, I think they get why I'm frustrated is what it is there, because all you have to do is listen to the entire call is what it is there. And you can see like my progression of like being pissed is what it is, because, when I'm telling someone like, hey, like, this is obviously not going to be here in time, and you're telling me differently, and you're straight up lying. And I feel like I'm straight up lying to me at that point, because, again, like, I get like from their end, like, they can't know that thing or whatever the case may be, but like, that's the thing, right? Like, you're the customer who is expecting this stuff and needs it badly, because I've needed this in my system for like over a week now is what it is. I check my scheduled day even, and I'm supposed to take this every 8 weeks. Today is 8 weeks right now. And I should have had it like 7, honestly. And I can tell right now, like, even getting up to date, like, my joints and my forearms and stuff like that are hurting so bad right now, dude. Like, right in my elbows and things like that. And I know that's a side effect from not taking this stuff right now, because it's all the inflammation from my joints right now is what it is. And so, yeah, like, I'm getting to a point right now where, like, I need this shit before I'm bedridden. That's what it is, dude. And I guarantee if that be the case, it'll be like, I'll be lucky if I'm not, like, bedbound, like, come Monday morning, honestly, or Tuesday morning, whatever it be. That would be a good shipment coming in then. So, like, it's beyond ridiculous, beyond irritating. And I'm just so fucking pissed right now is what it is, dude. And like I said, I'm not, and I'm not trying to like accuse people of like lying to me or whatever the case be, but like, when I'm specifically telling them, be like, hey, like, I got a call from these people today. That's the shipper that's shipping this, or whatever, or the go between that shipper, or whatever it is there. That's like telling me, like, hey, like, this stuff is, going to be way late, is what it is. And essentially, what I was trying to do was be like, hey, like, I know on your guys' end, like, technically it's supposed to be coming or whatever, but like, if it's not going to be viable, like, are you going to send me another dose, basically, that doesn't cost me a thing? Because I'm not going to pay for a fucking dose, is what it is, dude. Like, I refuse to pay for a dose, and I'll get on my fucking, I will literally get on my soapbox to my dermatologist, if that be the case, and tell them what happened, and be like, hey, like, they sent it got delayed, and there's no way I can take this stuff because it's not viable. And I'm seriously thinking I'm going to get sick if I do take this, is what it is. Because that's the thing. Like, if I know it's not viable, like, why would I even take it, Because it's not going to do anything, probably, is what it is. If anything, it might severely impact me, as it would be, then if that be the case. So, yeah, I'm, like, very, like, I'm just not good, man, basically. And, like I said, I'm not feeling great because of that exact reason, what it is now. So, yeah. And then as it is, I actually got to go to the chiropractor on Monday. So I may even have to change that appointment to like Wednesday or something, if that be the case, then, just to see if this shit does come in on Monday. Then if that be the case, because I have no idea when it'll come Monday, because even the FedEx update now is anytime between, now or it's anytime between like the morning and like 8 p.m. that night is what it is. So it could be here at, 9, 10, 11 a.m., or it could be here not at all, basically. So, and of course, you're not going to leave it because it has to be signature required on is what it is there. So yeah, it's not good, man. And then as it was, I got stupid motherfuckers back here. I swear to God, man. I don't know if it's like a kid or his dad or what it is, but their car, I don't know if their car is just like shitty or what it is, but they keep doing like every so often when they leave, it's like a weird like revving or something, like their engine is not going properly or something like that. Like maybe it's not, I think it's something with like their cylinders or something like that, what my guess would be, but I'm not enough of a car guy to understand like what the deal is there. It sounds like we need a tune up, honestly, what it sounds like to me, honestly, dude. So, yeah, it's very frustrating. I don't know if it's coming through the mic or not, though, but yeah, it's just infuriating now. I do like this hat, though, which, by the way, for those who don't know, this hat came from China, apparently, and took like 10 days to get to me, is what it is. Actually, it might be 11 days, because I think it was the 11th was when it first was being dealt with there in China, and then it didn't come until today. And then on top of that, what really upset me then was the stupid-ass post office left it in my mailbox instead of putting it on my fucking doorstep. And they obviously like scrunch it up, so now it's all fucked up looking like that is what it is. So then on top of that, I got this weird fucking letter from USPS today, which it's interesting. It doesn't have a name on it. It doesn't have anything else on it or anything like that. So I'm assuming they sent these in like a bunch of people's boxes or something like that around here, but who knows? Because when I looked at it here, this is from local post office here, is what it says. It says, "Dear postal customer, this notice serves to inform customers of important delivery service requirements in accordance with Postal Service policy. Compliance with these guidelines is necessary to ensure timely and accurate mail delivery. A high volume of mailboxes have been reaching capacity." So I'm guessing this is obviously like a general blanket thing. It's not just for me, is what it is. But yeah, it said high volume of mailboxes reaching capacity, causing delays in additional handling. Carriers are instructed to pool and hold mail when boxes are full, and mail may be returned to the sender if uncollected within the desired time frames. The following requirements are in effect. Number 1, mailboxes must be emptied daily, which today is, I went down there and I think this is the first time in like a week I got my mail. And it's only because, again, and I'm to the point right now, I'm probably going to call these people up either tomorrow or Monday then and see if I can arrange something where I can basically just hit up a mailbox in front of my apartment here on the side or whatever it is there, and just like literally go to Walmart, pay like $30, $40 over this for like a mailbox, and then like a post is what it is there, and just like literally like stick a fucking mailbox like right by my apartment door here is what it is, so they can just deliver straight to my door is what it is then, because I know for a fact they have to do stuff with disabilities what it is there, and like ADA compliance and things like that, and being the fact that I can't get down there every day to get the shit, and that's the problem for me. And like, and it's not like I wouldn't go down there and get my stuff, but like seriously, like when I have trouble walking, let alone leaving the apartment in a given day, like it's kind of hard for me to get down there, dude. And I even checked. The nice thing today was I had my blank out there that recorded when I left and when I came back. Basically, it took me like 6.5 to 7 minutes to leave the apartment, go down there, and come back then. So it's not like it's like a super far walk, but at the same time, like it's kind of difficult, honestly, for me, dude, because even coming back, like going down, it wasn't too bad. Like I didn't really have to stop. It was just like kind of like I think maybe I think I did. Well, I'm trying to remember. I think maybe I did stop for a second just to catch my breath is what it was, which is about halfway through, which is maybe a couple 100 feet or so. Because I want to say it's about maybe 400-ish yards down, give or take. Something like that, maybe 450. I don't know. I have to actually get like a Fitbit or something like that, or some kind of like step count thing or something like that to see how long it is between the beginning of the parking lot and the end of that parking lot down there is what it is. Because that's the problem too as well. Like the way that they set up is fucking dumb, because you have an apartment building there, you have an apartment building here, you have apartment building the next thing over. So that's like the first 12 basically. And that is the first set of boxes that are down there, which would be that apartment over there, this one here, and then, or this set here, and then the next set over. And in reality, where that first box should be, it should honestly be, there's a front lawn area here that has some, what do you call it now? Yeah, it has some, fuck, my mind is blanking what I'm saying now. Some like fencing there, that's like wood fencing. And it really, the first box should be like in the ground over there, basically is what it is, dude. And then the second box should be down there someplace where, 4, 5, and 6 are basically is what it is there. So, yeah, it's just dumb to not have it be like 2 different boxes in 2 different places basically, and just have them all in the same fucking place, like way far down is what it is there. Because as it was, like, when I first got here, I couldn't even find the mailboxes, dude. Like, it took me like 2 days or something just to figure where the shit is, just to figure out where the shit was, is what it was there. And it was only because my family member, I forget if it was my uncle or my cousin, came, and I was like, hey, let's just drive down this way and see if we can find the boxes or whatever. And yeah, sure enough, it was down the next set is what it was there. So it's like very frustrating is what it is. And the reason I say about getting potentially a mailbox, putting out here's what it is because I know when I moved in, there's an old woman over that way who is disabled too. She has a cane as well. She's like in her probably late 70s, early 80s, something like that's what it is. And obviously she can't go, way fucking far down there is what it is to get her shit. So she has a mailbox outside of her apartment building, or outside of her apartment door, there's what it is. And I'm half wondering if they wouldn't do the same for me, honestly, with my disability is what it is then, because, with the way that today, like, wasn't super bad because it was like the heat was okay and like the humidity was like not great, but it was not bad either. But I was able to get down there obviously tonight. But the thing is, like, most days, like, I'm lucky if I can even leave the apartment, dude. Like, that's how bad my fucking knee is hurting anymore, and same thing with my back for that matter. So it's like, yeah, like, if I'm getting stuff delivered, it's coming through USPS, like, they're obviously bringing the stuff to my door is what it is there, except for the hat, obviously. But the whole point is that they're sending it and leaving it at my doorstep is what it is there. And they know that, like, hey, like, I need this. I'm going to need this delivered to the door is what it is then. And like I said, whether it be me having to put up like a little box and have them put it in there, or whether it be me having to actually get like an actual mailbox and have it do that way. But I need to talk to people about something, dude, because I can't keep going down there and coming back here is what it is, dude. Like, it's just too much for me is what it is. Because as it was, even when I was coming back here, like, I had to sit there for about 15 seconds, 20 seconds, something like that, and catch my breath about halfway through it. Some cars, what it is there. And I had a little bag because it was not only the hat bag, but it was also, there was about, I don't know, probably a week or so worth of flyers there that would fill up my box pretty good. And there was about 4 or 5 different pieces of mail in there, including this one right here that's in my hand. So, like, it's not like it's a, easy task to get down there and back is what it is. And the thing is, like, those boxes are not even that big, dude. Like, they're actually very small. Like, I would say, truthfully, they're like probably about maybe like yay big, give or take. Like, yeah, about roughly like, about maybe like this size, give or take then. And then like a little bit back to like, maybe like, yeah, about like that big roughly. So it's essentially like, I would say maybe the inside of a regular mailbox, maybe a little bit smaller even. So it's not very big at all. And I know when I got here, initially, before I was able to get the keys to the box, because that took a couple weeks to get my keys even. And when I finally got down there, there was like, I think I counted, there was like 45 or 47 pieces of mail in that box. Only one of them was addressed to me. Every other piece was addressed to the previous tenants of this fucking place. And as far as I'm aware, like, the people that used to live here before I did, and that was like, I think they moved out in like January of this year. So this place is basically October and March with nobody in it then. So that means that they were there. They were probably here for at least a year, is my guess. And then the people before them would have been here for a year or so. And they're like I said, like going back, like at those 40 something pieces of mail, there was like probably like 6 different tenants' names on this. What it was, dude. So you're talking about if everybody's here for like a year or so, that means you have people who would have lived here in like 2018 or 2019 that would have still been on the mailing thing at that point for this address, which is fucking stupid because they obviously don't live here. And the point of the matter was I eventually had to get that updated to the point where it was only me that had anything being delivered here then is what it was. And they actually stopped delivering my mail entirely for like almost a week there is what it was because of that shit is what it was then. So yeah, needless to say, like it was very frustrating as it was. And yeah, until like, insult to injury, I get this shit in my mail today as it was then, or whenever they delivered it here, that's what it was. But yeah, this is what it says here though. It said, following is in effect. And boxes will be emptied daily. Boxes that are not emptied for 2 consecutive weeks will have all contents removed. Items will be held for 10 days, after which they will be returned to the sender. This policy applies to letters and packages. So I know for a fact I don't think I've ever had it go that long since I've been here, is what it is. So I'm assuming it's maybe people down there have done that stuff or something. Maybe, I don't know. Or in the area anyway, here's what it is. And that's at number 2. Names on mailbox. All residents receiving mail at an address must have their names clearly displayed on the mailbox. If a name is not listed, delivery will not be made. Requests to add names should be submitted by leaving a note inside the mailbox for the carrier. So that one I think is weird because it's like, as far as I'm aware, I've already done that with you people where it's like, yes, I've sent you like you sent me that card thing and I put it back in there with my name on it and stuff like that. So it should be all good to go as it was there. And then that was number 3, apartment number requirement. All mail and packages must include the correct apartment letter or number, even if the recipient's name is displayed on the mailbox. The omission of the apartment designation will result in non-delivery. The cooperation of all postal customers is appreciated in order to maintain effective mail service and prevent disruptions. So I don't know if they're going to deliver still or not. Like maybe this was today they delivered this shit, I don't know. But they fucking better. So I might just give them a call in the morning or Monday morning and be like, hey, like what's the deal here? Like, like how do I get this resolved to where I can actually get like a box set up like here? Because if nothing else, like I could actually go to the fucking, literally to the over to Walmart or whatever, like this weekend or even, come Monday morning / early afternoon with my uncle and go over there then and get that then. So I don't know. It's just so fucking retarded what it is, dude. And like I said, I'm just sick and tired of all of it is there. So I've really just had it in general. And I'm to the point now, I'm just done, basically. I'm done with all of it. I'm fucking sick and tired of all of it. And yeah, it's just absolute bullshit what it is. Huh. Apparently, Florida's AG is now trying to get SCOTUS to knock down that bullshit 2018 Pam Bondi fucking crap, where they raised the legal age to purchase from 18 to 21 in Florida after Parkland happened, which is not constitutional to begin with, by the way, especially when you look into Parkland and the fucking shady shit going on there is what it is. So, but anyway. Before I leave today, I'm going to talk about a couple of knives real quick, because I got in a couple of different blades this week, and I'll do a more in-depth thing on these on probably Tactical Tuesday, or Tactically Cool Tuesday, whatever I call it there, I'm not even sure. So first and foremost, we got this 2-pack of knives that I bought the other day, which is outdoor knife 2-pack, sheath included. This is from that Q-Cut company. So the one thing I will say about these, because I've already tested them before I, and then I pulled them back out here. So you got a green handled one and you got a yellow handled one. So the difference here is that in testing, this green handled one that has the black light on it there, you can actually tell, like, just from the edge on that it doesn't really have a whole lot of edge going as what it is there. And when I tried to cut this before, piece of paper here's what it is. I'm basically need to sharpen this knife basically out of the box because it does not want to cut for shit. By comparison, and that does bother me quite a bit actually just because of that, because I only have one other knife from this company before this, and that was razor sharp out of the box. But yeah, so you have that one that doesn't want to cut out of the box with the green handle there. And then you have this like black and yellow handled one that by comparison, different kind of like not quite coated blade there is what it is. Still says what it is here. It's the 1411 CR MOV 15 kind of steel. But you compare it to the other one there and fucking razor sharp out of the package. So, like I said, disappointed by that first one for sure. So I don't know if it's just they just didn't get an edge on the other one or what it was, but yeah, I'm going to get an edge on that later is what it'll be. But this is good out of the package. I could definitely take this out into the woods and do some stuff with it though, if I needed to. You know, start feather sticking some things and whatnot or what have you there. But anyway. Moving on to other stuff though. I also found out this week that apparently the blades I was going to send back, I cannot actually send back to Amazon because they don't have a fucking Staples thing for any of the stuff. It's all US or UPS bullshit. So secondly, we got a Fleta knife, which this is the little access lock thing. Access lock, crossbar lock, we were called there. So out of the package, when I first opened this was Wednesday when this came in. It was not great. Like it was very stiff. The crossbar piece was very stiff to even open. The knife itself was basically a little bit out like that because it had a little attached to it. So I'm not sure how long that was sitting on like a shelf with the little like plastic piece at the knife tip so it didn't break off or anything like that. So that might have been an issue there, who knows. But I ended up putting some oil in the pivot joint and also in the back there is what it was, like in the liner area there. And I did that on Wednesday night. By Thursday night / this morning, it was like 10 times better now because it actually does its job properly now, where you can maybe. Sorry, doesn't want to quite flip on me there. Let's see if I can do a better flip job there. Ooh, shit. Yeah, now I can do this better is what it is then. Yeah. So it's not bad. It's not terrible. But you would think for like $20, like it should be a little better than that. And I'm actually kind of disappointed in this knife as well because looking at this, when you actually look at the back of it there, and you see where the crossbar lock sits here is what it is. It literally only goes to here, and then there's a little piece of, if I can pop it up on the camera there, you can tell there's like a little bit of metal that's like right behind it there. So by the time you get to this pin right there, that's where it basically ends. All the rest of this, with the exception of where the metal screws, are going to call it there, are inserted in it. There is absolutely no liner in the rest of this. So you basically have to right here is where the entirety of the liner is. And the rest of this is just completely open with no support at all. And you can tell, like, I'm not saying this is like bad or anything like that, but like even me just like pushing on it with my strength, which is not great. Like it kind of moves a little bit, which is not good. And yeah, you would think for $20, like that should not be that way as what it is. I would expect it from like a Walmart knife that costs like 10 or 15, but not something like this that costs 20. So I am really disappointed in these people as what it is there for that. But yeah, this being said, this is Oz 8 steel. And I will say, by comparison to the other knife there, that did not want to cut there, that is razor sharp out of the package. So I will give them that. They do make a sharp knife. That being said, the little, what you call it, kind of serration there doesn't really cut through properly. Like it just basically tears apart is what it is. So it's right here upwards on the knife is where it's nice and sharp. So it is. I wish the whole knife had been that way. So, but yeah, it's not bad. Like, and I was originally going to send this back, but now I'm just like, I'll probably keep it. Then is what it is, just because it's not terrible. You know, it does its job basically. Like it's not, and like realizing like it doesn't need to like be as flippy as some of the other ones are, because it actually can easily like catch them is what it is. So, and it does feel pretty good. Like I do like, I don't believe these are G10 handles on this or anything like that, but they are definitely, it's a very smooth handle and it does feel good in my hand. I will say that on that one for it. And then finally, the last one that we're going to talk about a little bit more on Tuesday. This was from a company called, I think it was Paired or something like that. This was only $10 for this one. This is another crossbar. What I think is interesting about this one is it has a box there inside of the box, but it also has this little baggie that it came in, which was nice. And then obviously the knife itself here is a little blue guy. Yeah, this is from a company called, I think it says it on the knife, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, it was Cool Paired EDC. So it is COLPARD EDC. And I will say, by comparison, like this one is super, super fucking flippy. So, like that's what I would expect to have a crossbar is what it is like that. However, that being said, like me trying to flip this open and like catch it and whatnot, sometimes like it's a much quality thing there. This is very similar to that Flesa though, where it only has up to that first point where it's like the lined block is what it is there of any kind of metal, and then everything else is just empty there is what it is. The difference here obviously though is that you have, it's like that jimping or whatever from the crossbar there, but then it also has some more jimping on the actual blade itself, which is nice. And the thing I like about this knife is actually I think this is more of a sheep's foot design if I'm not mistaken. And I do like that. I appreciate that. It seems really nice on that aspect of things. However, that being said, as far as I'm aware, this is another knife, just like that first Q-Cut one, where it is not very sharp out of the box. Let's see if I can find another piece of paper here. Let me just grab a shard of something I already cut them, if I can. Oh, here we go. Got my Scotch tape things that is from today. This is about like small cardboard basically, so it should easily be able to cut through this, which I guess it does have somewhat of a blade edge, like not as good as it should be though. Obviously that should have cut like easily like right through that, so I thought it had a little bit less edge than that. Maybe it was the way I was just holding the paper before stuff. So I mean, I guess it does have like, yeah, it's like somewhat of a good blade edge. So yeah, like by compare, I would say that the Oz 8 one is a little better than this one. This one doesn't have like what kind of steel is on what it is on it, which I think is either 1440 or 1411 or it's 440. I'm not sure, but it has. You can definitely tell it has like a little bit of edge there is what it is, but not like a ton. I know this isn't razor sharp, and the thing with both of these obviously is that they're only light duty knives. Basically, they're never going to be like heavy duty choppers. Like I would never think about taking this out to the woods and do anything with it. Whereas, you know, one of these guys that specifically is a fixed blade, I might do that honestly with this stuff. And by comparison, I think that 2-pack of knives was a little bit cheaper, roughly around the same price as that Flessa blade was. Whereas this guy was, like I said, about $10, give or take, and came with a nice little bag, is what it is. So, but yeah, it's not. I don't know if I feel how I feel about that one long term, because I feel like that might be like a point of contention there. So, I don't know. I'm gonna go to Walmart tomorrow though with my cousin, so hopefully I can pick up the Sonder and the Valor knives, and if I can, I will do a comparison between this one and the Sonder, and then I'll do a comparison between that Flessa and the Valor one, and see which ones I think are better. Actually, the one thing I do like about this one though is that when you look at the pocket clip there, it is reversible to either side too, and I think it's the same thing with Flessa too, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. So you got their little clip there is what it is, and then you got the holes on the other side too, where you can pop it to the other side if you need to carry it the opposite way is what it is then. So the one thing I will say is, like, comparing these two right now, you can actually tell where the difference in the quality is and stuff like that of the making of these knives, because looking at the Flessa knife where the crossbar is there, you don't see anything at all on it for the like internals or whatever you're gonna call it there. The only thing I can see right now is it's like right here at the very tip. I don't know if that's coming up on camera or not, but it's like right there. You can see it like folding into the actual handle and stuff like that, where that like little piece of metal is and stuff. Whereas comparing that to this $10 knife, I can not only see on the sides there, like where that little piece is there, but especially on this side, you can actually see like where it is at, like on the thing. So you can tell like the quality is not quite as good on this one. I think that's why it's more flippy is what it is, just because it doesn't have like, it's more like easy to go like that and stuff like that, is because of the fact that you don't have that like lined up to the point where it's like a little stiff, I guess is what I'd say. And by comparison, like having that like that versus the Flessa here, like it's a little bit harder to, you know, pop out, but it's also, it's able to stop it, and it's not going to fuck up that pivot point basically long term, I don't think. Whereas, you know, if you keep doing this shit with this $10 beater, it's going to be, you know, fucking up at some point probably, and that pivot is my guess, where it'll be like non-viable. So, you know, you get what you pay for is what it is. And like I said, I'm not going to sit here and say like a $10 knife is the same thing as like, you know, a $20 knife or a $100 knife or like a $500 knife, whatever it is there. But even still, like, I could see this being good for like short-term use and stuff like that. And I feel like it's going to be a decent little go-ahead, go-between, whatever you want to call it there. So I look forward to using both these, obviously. I'm probably not going to EDC these, but I'll have them with me as like, you know, maybe during like Christmas time with my family or something like that, just to like show people like, hey, check these out. And as it is for the other stuff, I'm probably going to give the, since I can't really send those two Go Will knives back to anybody, I'm probably going to give those to people, then is what it'll be. So whether it be cousins, whether it be brother, nephew, niece, sister, brother-in-law, whatever the case be here, which technically the guy's not my brother-in-law yet, but I feel like he's going to marry my sister at some point, so I'm just like, you know, he's just here is what it is. I know he's a knife guy. I know he has better quality knives than the ones I would give him, obviously, but like at the same time, I kind of want to, I mean, I might just keep the smaller Go Will knife just because, but like that other one, I probably want to get rid of what it is because it just sucks. I would personally like to send them back and get my money back, honestly, just because, you know, it's whatever. But the problem is that when I looked it up today, it was like, because before when I did send those fans back, it gave me multiple options. It was like a couple different UPS options, and it was another option for Staples, which is around here. And I was thinking it was going to do that same thing today with the Go Will and stuff like that when I went to do the return stuff on those. And instead it's like, oh no, it's either UPS, their store, it is you getting a box, shipping it through them as well, or it is shipping it some other way and like paying a fee and stuff like that. And I'm like, I'm not doing any of that, dude. Fuck that. So I don't know. I guess I'm just gonna keep them as what it is then. So which does suck because even though they're CB Life knife, I don't think that's ever gonna be viable. That being said, I just remembered I got another version of that here in the last couple of days, which you can tell the difference between this one and the other one because this one obviously the side of it is black and stuff, but then this other side has more of like a gray tinge to it, I guess is what I would call it, or like a lighter black is what it is there. And by difference, like the other one was so hard to open, this one's still a little bit hard, but it definitely flicks open much easier and it does catch, and it's a lot better. So I think what happened is when you look at the liner on this one compared to the other one, I really think it was something where it was that liner lock on the other one. It's just messed up out of the factory is what it is there, and that's why I wanted to send it back specifically because I don't think it's a good knife is what it is, and I'm not so sure it's fixable is what the problem is there. So, but yeah, this one's definitely like a much better knife. Feels better. I think this is also kind of a sheepshead design if I'm not mistaken. Let me test my liner lock one or my crossbar lock one real quick. Yeah, it's a similar blade pattern on both these guys. And this is a little bit different, obviously, just because it's got the little, like, Hawkeye, whatever you call it there. I'm not sure what that's even called, but yeah, it's not too bad. They're, like, a similar look to them and stuff. So. But when I looked it up anyway, like, if I was to send the other one of these back, I would only get like $12 back. So it's not like a huge deal. It's not like I paid like the full 20 for these things because I think that's what they're going for right now. But even still, like $12, like if the knife is messed up, I want my money back is what it is, dude. So anyway, but yeah, this one's definitely a much better knife and whatnot. It feels better than the other one too, man. Because that other one, like I said, I've oiled it. I literally on the side of it, I had to screw with it and stuff like that. I was trying to get it to the point where it was good, and I think maybe I messed up the screw even on it because I don't know if I stripped it or not with that little one I got the other day, but yeah, it is what it is. So it just kind of sucks on that one. So that being said, I do have one other cool thing to show that I got in, and we'll talk more about this on Tuesday, along with a new light that I got in today, which is apparently you can buy a little where's the thing? Oh, yeah, it's inside of it. This is apparently a USB rechargeable lighter. And what's interesting about this is the actual USB charger thing is right here, and the ignition switch is right there. And so what happens is this is also supposed to be, I think, a stormproof flare, if I'm not mistaken. So basically, you can go out and I'm assuming that's coming through. But yeah, you can see it's got a little cool electrical charge there on it, is what it is. And you can, obviously, if you're a smoker, you can light your cigs like that. But if you're out in the woods and things like that, you can like just fire that off and do what needs to be done, is what it is. So that's pretty cool. And I think this was around $10 when I bought it the other day. So, which I feel like, honestly, this is a pretty good tool to have just because, you never know what's going to happen. And then, of course, it comes with a little attachment clip. Here's what it is to put on the back piece there, is what it is. And then it also comes with its little USB recharger. So I think it's funny, though, when you look at the box, though, it says fashion lighter on it, which is not really, for fashion like that. What it's for is practicality, what it is there, because, you want to actually have something that works, is what it is there. So at least I do anyway. So yeah, I figured having that would be a good idea to have. And of course I got my regular, in the bedroom there. That's my Zippo. But I know those don't stay long. I think it's like a couple months at most, and then they end up going to the point where you gotta do like a weird refill on them because it like dries out their cotton or whatever it is there, which is different between that and the other thing is like that thing is just, you know, has to be plugged in to be charged. So obviously if it was a, you know, grid down situation or whatever the case be, you'd want to have the Zippo just because you would have obviously the ability to not have like EMPs and stuff like that taking it out versus, you know, with the other one you basically would have like whatever charges in it until it goes dead and then it's just dead. So unless you can figure out a way to like recharge it is what it is, which is possible. There is a possibility there as well because you potentially recharge it like, you know, like a windmill or something else. You know, a solar panel maybe or something would work with it. But who's to say those would work after grid down and stuff like that? So it's a whole situation. That's what it is. So who knows? But anyway, I got some stuff I got to do though. That is, I got about 20 something minutes to finish it right now. So I'm gonna go ahead and call it a day on this one. I meant to have this one be about a half hour or so, but unfortunately, kind of stretched into an hour. So I'm gonna call it a day on this one. I will get back to you guys whenever and deal with stuff. That's what it is. But yeah, like I said, it pisses me off that, you know, everything happened the way it did this week, and it really fucking pisses me off that, you know, I have no idea when these meds are going to come now. And like I said, I'm going to call up the people that are the health pharmacy place that sent me the meds and tell them what's going on tomorrow and see if anybody even picks up there tomorrow or not. If they don't, it's whatever. I will simply give them a call then and be like, hey, like, here's the deal, people. Like, this is obviously not going to be viable. Like, you know, if that is the case, like, I might need you guys to send me another one at your expense. Basically, what it is there, because I'm not using this one that's not viable. Is what it is there. So, who's to say if they'll actually agree to that or not? But they fucking better, because I'm not paying $2,000 a fucking shot out of goddamn pocket right now because I don't have that kind of money. Is what it is, dude. So if nothing else, I'll get my dermatologist involved in that one, and then be like, hey, like, you guys need to, like, you know, on the behalf, like, be like, no, you guys got to give me another one. But is there? Because that's the thing. It wasn't me. It wasn't on my end being like, oh yeah, send this to fucking Tennessee before you send it to Ohio. It's like, no, dude, like, send this right to Ohio. Here's what it is. What the fuck? This is dumb. Like, why is this going to any place else but Ohio? So, which I still don't understand why the fuck they even sent it anywhere. It wasn't Ohio, basically. Because, like I said, every other time I've seen this before, like, I'm like 90% sure it was always like New York to New Jersey and then straight here to someplace in Ohio, like Columbus or something. That's what it was. And then it was down to where I'm at, basically. So the fact that it was like even sent to Tennessee at all is like, what the fuck? Like, it makes no sense at all, dude. So, yeah, I have no idea. It's just fucking retarded on their end. And like I said, if they want to act like a bunch of fucking retards, like, that's fine. But, like, you know, don't be surprised when I'm bitching you out if that won't be the case, man. So, I don't know. The whole thing just, it pisses me off beyond belief. And it never needed to happen, basically, is the best way I can describe it. Like, there was zero reason for it to ever be reality like this, and they could have easily got it done better, but they just chose not to, is what it was. So, I don't know. Like I said, it's infuriating, 100%, and there is literally zero reason for them to ever try to question me, basically, and tell me, like, what's up, when I'm, like, telling them, like, dude, like, because that's the thing, right? Like, you're not just going to call somebody and be like, oh, yeah, like, send me another one. It's like, no, dude, you're going to call them because it's like, hey, like, you just got a call telling you that, hey, this shit ain't going to be in place on time. So maybe, I don't know, send another one. But yeah, they're just too dumb to understand it, apparently. And it's just so infuriating, dude. It really is, because, you know, like I said, it's not like I'm trying to be an asshole either. Like, I'm just trying to get my medication that I've needed for like weeks now is what it is. Like, please send my meds, you know, in a timely fucking fashion if possible. And the fact they're not doing that is like very telling to me, honestly, especially when you have the woman like essentially lying in my face and being like, oh no, they're gonna be there. It's like, no, they're not. That's the point. That's why I'm calling you and telling you this. Like, they literally called me and told me they're not gonna be here today. So why are you questioning my, you know, authority, if you will? But yeah, like, it's just so dumb. Like, she could have just easily taken me at my fucking word and been like, okay, like, we'll just ship out another one or whatever then. Or we'll just, or even if she had been like, okay, we'll call you back when we get an update or something on this. Like, even if she had just given me that, like, I would have been like, okay, cool, like, good to know. But the fact that they didn't do shit, honestly, is what really pisses me off the most, I think, is what it is there. Because, again, like, she could have done her job and been like, like, and it could have easily been a situation where from her and it would have been like, okay, like, here's how it is on our end, but like, I understand what you're telling me. Like, if that is the case, like, we will send a different one out to you or something like that. That's what it is then. So I don't know. I feel like she just didn't have compassion is what it was, and I think that's what pisses me off the most is what it is, especially when I'm like trying to explain to her, like, lady, like, I wouldn't be calling you otherwise if it wasn't for this crap. So the fact that you're like openly, getting kind of testy with me, I guess is what it is, and not, taking me at my word is what it is there. Like, that's what's pissing me off right now. And I feel like I'm justifiable in what I did today, honestly, which is kind of which I wouldn't really say I cursed her out per se, but like, I basically gave her the business what it was there, and needed to basically say that stuff just to like kind of let it fire under her ass, maybe is what it is there. Unfortunately, I don't think it really worked, but because of course she hung up on me after the fact is what it was there, but still at the same time, like, something needed to be done, something needed to be said, whatever. So I don't know anymore, man. It's just, like I said, it's just fucking infuriating, basically, and there was no need for it. Like, they could have just easily sent it like directly to me. And I think the thing that pissed me off the most, actually, about the whole interaction I had with her is what it was there, is that when we're talking about the meds and stuff, because I'm like explaining to her, I'm like, hey, like, this is probably not gonna be viable, whatever when it comes. And she's like, oh no, it's totally gonna be viable because it'll come today. And it was just shipped out on Thursday or whatever the case be. And then I'm telling her, I'm like, okay, but here's the deal. Like, as far as I'm aware, it's not going to be here today. It's going to be here, Monday morning sometime, which will be like 3 days from today. And I guarantee that that's not going to last if it is in that facility for that long, if it's not being refrigerated. And like, that was the whole point. I'm trying to tell her, I'm like, hey, like, I'm going to need you guys to send another fucking shipment is what it'll be then. Like, don't, discount me on this whole thing. And like, she apparently was not understanding that or just not getting it or something. I don't know, man. Like, it's just weird. But either way, it's like, it's also very infuriating too, for that matter, because it's like, and again, I think it was honestly a communication problem because of her being of that Indian descent and not being able to understand my American accent and maybe not being able to really understand her through her thick ass Indian accent, what it was there. And this is the problem when you don't have call centers that are in America run by Americans. That's what you need to have. You need to have these call centers here in America that are American citizens that have English as the first and only language that is there, being the ones behind that stuff. Like, I would even much rather deal with a person that was like a former, like, EBT recipient or something like that, or some shit like that, dude, where they had to be like a call center job or something like that just to have that stuff, because at least then they would understand, like, hey, like, okay, cool, we'll get it out to you today or tomorrow, whatever it is there. Not, oh, we'll do whatever the fuck we feel like it, basically. And then when you call them up and tell them about that, like, they're not understanding is what it is there. So I don't know, like, it's just, like I said, it's very telling of our times and our society, basically, is what it is here. And I think it's a problem in general, what it is, because you have these people that just don't apparently give a fuck enough to want to help, basically, is what it sounds like. And it seems like in many cases, they'd rather just sit there and basically tell you to go fuck yourself in so many words and lie straight to your face is what it is. then actually be like, okay, we understand that, like, obviously this is not going to come today, but on our end it says it is, basically. And I could totally get that. I understand that. Like, I get that. I get what you're telling me, and I'm telling you, something completely different than what it is there. Because the truth of the matter is, like, I understand that, like, from your end, it's saying this, that, or the other thing. But what I'm telling you is, like, from my end, it ain't coming today. Like, please understand what I'm telling you, because I literally got this call like an hour ago, and she apparently just wasn't getting that through her head is what it was. So I don't know, man. It's so fucking dumb is what it is, and it really, like I said, just really got to me, honestly, and it actually quite pissed me off at the end of the day is what it was there, because there was no reason for it, basically. Like, they could have easily just, like, been like, okay, oops, our bad, and just sent the shit. But instead they want to fuck around, basically, and, eventually find out, basically, what it is there. Which I think, honestly, like, that's exactly what you're going to see happen with a lot of people pretty soon is what it is, dude, where people just start having is what it is with these idiots. And just, fucking go at them, basically, what it is there. And that's not a good thing, obviously, because, when you're pissing off the wrong people, like, it's not good to do that, man. Like, I'll just say it like that, basically. Like, maybe don't piss off the people that, are, like, the customer base here, because you might not have a fucking company after the fact or whatever. So, I don't know. It just, like I said, to me, it just felt very shitty, I guess is the best way to describe it, honestly. Like, it felt like I was not being handled correctly is what it is there. Whereas if they had just done their job and been like, okay, we're sorry, like, we'll see what we can do later, what it is or something. Or even if they had said, okay, we're going to give you a call back later or something like that, if it doesn't go through or whatever. So, but yeah, just, like I said, it just pisses me off beyond belief. I kind of wish my autism on there would be a little bit more, inclined, or maybe the hat itself would be a little bit, more up and stuff like that. I do like the hat, though. It does fit my head pretty good as it is, and it does feel pretty nice. But like I said, I feel like we could easily make, again, going back to, like, me being kind of anti-China is what it is like that. Like, seriously, it took 11 days to get me this hat from China, dude. Like, you couldn't just make this hat in America and get it to me in like 3 days is what it is. Or hell, make it here in America and just sell it like a fucking, a Walmart or a Target or anything else like that and stuff, and just give it to me that way is what it is, So, yeah, it just seems kind of silly, honestly, on that one. But again, it is what it is. I don't know, man. Just sad either way, but yeah, it just seems kind of silly to not just, like, have a viable option there is what it is. So, as it stands, I probably have to wash this thing, actually, because after the fact, when I was looking at it in the back here, I don't know if there's like dirt or something there, or what the hell it is on it already. I think it just looks like dirty on the back of this. So I don't know if this is just like one of like a bunch of hats they just threw on the floor and shit like that after they made it, or what the deal is there. But yeah, it's not good. So I probably should try to wash this anyway, like at least around the brim anyway there at some point. But I have no idea how to even do that, honestly, is the sad part. So, but yeah, it's just a whole hullabaloo is what it is there. And then I was talking to my sister about stuff, and yeah, these stupid fuckers at the are still cutting my disability check as of next month still. So I'm gonna deal with that bullshit again on that. See exactly when the fuck they're gonna send that to me is what it is then. It's a proper check is what it is. So hopefully it'll be pretty damn soon, but who the fuck knows anymore? I really don't know anymore, and it's getting to a point right now where I'm just fucking over all of it, dude. Like, I'm kind of just done in general. So I wish it would be figured out and done with, but yeah, I have no idea anymore. So But it's really starting to piss me off, basically. And there's no reason to basically have it in that situation where I shouldn't just be getting stuff, especially when I've done this like months ago. So I'll probably have to give the people a call here on Mondays what it is and figure stuff out there as well and start moving along and whatnot and go from there, basically. Because as it stands right now, like, shit is not great, unfortunately. So, and, you know, unfortunately with stuff like this, it's a situation of, you know, your coulda, woulda, shoulda is what it is there, where it's like you could have had this, you should have had this, you should have done this already, whatever, but like, at the same time, it's, you know, I'm trying to call these people up, and then even when I called them today this morning after everything, this was after I dealt with the medication people, is you have these fucking people, as soon as I called their number this morning, that was a good number as of like a couple weeks ago as far as I'm aware, it was completely disconnected now is what it is, and I'm like, what the hell, dude? And my sister was like, oh, it might have just been that it was disconnected at a local level or something like that, but I'm like, it shouldn't be, because that should be like the place, literally. So yeah, I mean, it's not to me at all. So I don't know. I don't know if they just got something happening there or what it was, but it's beyond frustrating, basically. And it should not have to be that way at all. So, but yeah, I'm pretty fucking perturbed is what it is there. So, I need to find my wifey hat again. If you guys don't know about that one, there was one of my cousins that went to that place that used to be the Friday night, or not Friday night, the Friday morning deals and stuff like that. There was a hat I found over there one time that literally said wifey on it. And I remember distinctly, it was pretty funny actually. There was a guy who had come up, and he was like looking through one of the bins or whatever. He actually found the hat before I did, and then just kind of I think he tried it on or whatever, and then he like looked at what it said on it, and then just like threw it back in the thing or whatever. And I'm just like, that's a nice hat, man. Like, either way, I don't care what it says on it, honestly. And so yeah, I just picked it up one day, I picked up that day, and you know, that since that's what it is, because to me, 50 cents for a freaking ball cap, dude, like that's a steal, honestly, any day of the week, especially when this one cost, I think it was like 10 or 12 bucks. So, you know, like that's 100% a damn steal that day. So anyway, but yeah, it's like a whole thing, and it's, like I said, it bothers me from the aspect of the fact that you have these people that just apparently don't give a fuck and seem to just not care at all is what it is, and it's very infuriating, basically. So, and it's really hard to not, you know, sort of want to beat someone's ass, basically is what it is, because people are not listening to you is what it is there. So actually, that was another thing I heard this morning. It was a guy who was talking about it on some, I think it was a Facebook reel or something, and it was actually one guy responding to another guy what it was there, and the first guy was saying something about like they were essentially saying if all crime was legal, kind of like purge kind of shit is there, like what would you do essentially? And it's funny because there's people in the comment section being like, well, I wouldn't incriminate myself. So, but then the one guy was all like talking about like he would just basically assault people is what it is there, because what I think essentially was what he was saying was just slap people in the mouth, basically, because too many people haven't gotten a good old-fashioned bitch slap in the face is what it is there, which I think that's the unfortunate situation of our society in general, is that we definitely have a lot of people that are, you know, stupid motherfuckers who need to get the shit smacked out of them, and they're not getting the shit smacked out of them is what it is there. So, you know, I would totally agree with that one, honestly, on that aspect of things. For me personally, I don't know, it would be something like that probably, honestly. It would just be, you know, smacking the fuck out of somebody or a bunch of somebodies, and I think that would be a good thing to happen to a lot of people in Congress right now, even for that matter, because there's a lot of these motherfuckers that do not want to listen to American people and are just out for themselves is what it is. And that's why I've said several times, like, I think the best thing that happened to this country right now is we just force their hand and just have it be a fight situation where it's like, hey, you want to fuck around? Like, cool. We now get to fight you for your jobs, literally, in the fucking ring and shit like that. And if we beat you, we get that fucking job is what it is then. It would be one way to basically stop Congress from having, like, lifetime politicians in it for sure. And it would also be a great way to have it be a situation of them being able to, you know, get the boot whenever we feel like giving the boot is what it is there, because we would be the ones basically controlling their fates is what it is there. So, but at least Jasmine Crockett's retarded ass is going to be gone here pretty soon. I mean, I think personally Texas should kick her out right now is what it is for the shit she's done there. Whether it be between her calling for direct violence against white Americans, with basically saying she wants to pull up a chair and, like, smack us with a chair, basically what it is there. And that was at some HBCU she did a college speech at there for the Super Dash graduation, to her basically going on, like, all kinds of anti-white tirades and shit like that constantly. And I actually saw a video this morning, even there was somebody that confronted her piece of shit ass at it was a, I don't know if it was like a town hall in Texas there, where exactly it was supposed to have been, but yeah, this woman basically called out Crockett to her face and was like, you act like you're ghetto, but you're some, you know, bitch from, I think it was Missouri, who went to, like, the highest paid schools, etc., which is all true, by the way. Like, that's the thing people don't realize, dude, is that Jasmine Crockett's a total fucking fraud is what it is. She is a complete lying sack of shit. She is this rich bitch whose family came from wealth. I think it was pretty much stolen wealth, if I'm not mistaken. And then she basically proceeded to go to, like, super high ass institutions that were, like, the most money you could pay out to, like, a private school, basically. Like, that's where she was going as a kindergartner and stuff like that. And yeah, it was like this whole basically giant clusterfuck of stuff, to where she's just this absolute liar. And there's even video of her when she was running for office, I believe it was back in 2024 there, where she's admitting on camera to some dude that she's basically putting on this act in the coming months if she got elected. And that's exactly what she's been doing now, is putting on this bullshit act where she acts like she's all ghetto and stuff like that when she's not. So it's really fucked up, man. And really what it shows is, like, this is exactly why people need to be disqualified from even running for office, what it is there, if you're going to pull some crap like that. So, you know, like I said, I personally have had it with these fucking people. I've had it with her piece of shit ass in general. And this is exactly what not only do we need to have recall voting in every state in this country, we need to have automatic disqualification from office in this nation across the board right now of these fucking idiots. Where it's like, you want to do some dumb shit, you want to say some dumb shit, cool, you're fucking gone, bitch. And it's that simple. Like, you want to sit there and try to, you know, call for assaults on American citizens, like, you're done from fucking politics, bitch. Forever. And if we actually enforce that kind of law, if we actually force that kind of rule, like, we'd be so much better as a country right now, I believe. And it's unfortunate people don't want to do their job like that, because if they actually did, it would be a lot better for everyone is what it is then. Because we could actually get things done properly in this nation instead of having to deal with stupidity is what it is constantly. And having to deal with retarded idiots in power then. So. But on that note, I think I'm going to go ahead and call it a day then, because I am pretty exhausted. I don't really feel the greatest. And I also got to do a couple more things here real quick before reset takes place. So, I'm dropping in about 10 minutes here. But yeah, like I said, I'm just very fucking frustrated with everything right now going on, and it's just probably some of the dumbest bullshit constantly today. Like, it just feels like everything is working against me for some reason. I have no idea why either. It's like, and it might just be me overthinking stuff. I don't know, but it just feels like it's like one of those situations where it's like, why me? You know, like, what the hell, God? What have I done to, you know, piss you off today? Is what it is. So, I don't know. It's like, I swear to God, it's like harder and harder every day just to like not just do something, honestly. So, just to be clear, I'm not talking about anything against anyone. I'm just saying, just in general. So, gotta make that one clear because of the fucking Fed boys out there. I'm pretty sure still watch my shit, honestly. Over 6 years later now. So, what's up, Timmy? What's up, Discount Hank Schrader? I swear to God, that second guy totally looked like Hank Schrader, dude. Like, you fucking really did. And actually, now I think about it, it's been just over 6 years now since the federal swatting happened. Because it was about mid-month or so of this month that it happened. Actually, now I think about it, I forgot the anniversary of Dayton and Texas. Because I think that would have been last week, if I'm not mistaken. Or this past week, maybe. So, yeah, I completely forgot the anniversary of those two events, dude. Because it would have been 6 years ago this week, I believe. Or maybe last week, someplace in there. When you would have had the Dayton massacre happen, you would have had the El Paso, Texas massacre happen. So, yeah, I completely blanked on those ones. That is on me on that. Probably because I'm busy doing other stuff with what it does there. Although to be fair, like, once it gets to a certain point, like, those anniversaries get to be a lot, whatchamacallit, to where it's only like the big ones, like 5, 10, 15, 20, etc. And then people don't tend to give a crap about, like, 6, 7, 8, 9, 13, 14, etc. there. So, I'm not saying they shouldn't give a crap about them because they should, but what I'm saying is, unfortunately, like, so many people will just forget is what it is. And it's sad to think about that because you shouldn't be forgetting stuff like that because, again, like, it's events like this to where you have anti-gun fuckboys and fuckgirls who will then come out of the woodwork and try to take away your and I constitutional rights because they're a bunch of oath-breaking cunts is what it is. So, anyway. But on that note, though, I think it happened this week. I believe that's when it was. So, yeah, I need to get something to eat too, but for that matter. So, yeah, I definitely need to finish this one up and then call it a day, basically. Nothing else. I will do an update tomorrow, so it'll be maybe if I can figure out like when exactly Dayton and El Paso happened. I just do it as like a late stream or something like that, or like a belated stream, I guess, is the beating or something. So it's one of those things that you really should discuss every year. Mostly because I do like to do reading of names and stuff like that. I've done that a couple of years now, is what it is, and I do like doing that, honestly, just because it is those things that, like, at least I can have something to where I can sit there and be like, hey, like, I'm right there with you guys. Like, you lost your family members, and I'm, I still support you, is what it is there. That being said, I don't support you trying to take away my rights or anybody else's rights, especially when it comes to the Second Amendment. But that being said, I do, feel your pain, and I know, like, having lost people myself to other tragedies and stuff like that, I'll never get justice for them. Like, it's a situation there where it's like, I understand, like, where you're coming from of, like, why you want this, justice or so-called justice, what it is there. But at the same time, you got to understand from my perspective of things, like, I'm never giving up my Second Amendment rights, and neither is anyone else for that matter. So stop trying to fucking take them from us assholes. Because that's my biggest problem with these people. It's like, hey, I understand you lost a family member to this stuff, whatever. But the fact of the matter is, it was some goddamn deranged Antifa lunatic that walked into that fucking bar. Or I guess technically didn't walk into the bar, he walked outside of the bar and just started killing old people. This is a fucking nutcase, is what it is, dude. And really, that was on Democrats like Nan Whaley back then, because she was the damn mayor of the fucking city and could have easily stopped that massacre from happening months before that and did nothing to stop that, honestly. For those who don't know, actually, I'm going to talk about that real quick before I leave. So, going back to where the Dayton Massacre happened there, the piece of shit that did that, Connor Betts, this motherfucker, like 3 or 4 months before that, was at an event, because that would happen in August of 2019, and it would have been May of 2019. There was an event down in Dayton that was basically supposed to be like, I believe it was supposed to be the Klan coming together or something like that and having like a rally. As it turned out, it was basically 9 Fed boys that were like being surrounded by the cops that it is there. And you had all these black supremacists from like Nation of Islam and fucking Black Panthers and everything else, like that's what it was there. And then it was a bunch of other people that were Antifa terrorists. It was BLM terrorists, random Quakers for some reason. I don't understand why they were even there. But it was basically all the people that were supposed to be like against the hate or whatever there of the stuff or whatever. And so basically you had the whole thing going on there is what it was. And then it was a couple minutes down the line or whatever, you had these other people who were just there is what it was. And I believe that one of the other people that was just there that was basically Antifa affiliated, that was what it was the piece of shit who did the Dayton Massacre, and had the cops actually looked into people's backgrounds and realized, like, hey, this dude's a primitive person and is in possession of an AR right now, like, arrest his ass. Had they done that, you would have had a better country right now, dude, because you would never have people get killed there in that massacre than months later. So, because the fact of the matter is, this kid was walking around with an illegally possessed firearm, is what it was. As a primitive person is what it was there. And nobody did a damn thing to stop him. So, and that really, to me, is on Moms and Man Action Types, because they're the ones always bitching and moan about this shit, but yet they're the ones that allow this crap to happen constantly, is what it is, dude. So, yeah. Really, it's their fault, is what it is that happened. And I'll say it to their face right now, dude. It is your fault, MDA. It's your fault, Michael Bloomberg. Because you fuckers allow these fucking pieces of shit back on our streets to commit these atrocities instead of keeping them locked the fuck up where they belong in a damn prison cell or a psych ward. So, yeah, fuck those fucking people, man. They are the biggest pieces of shit in our entire society right now, is what it is. So, anyway. I'm probably going to do a recap in the next week or two of that new Dexter series that's out right now. It's pretty good. I've been watching it. And it was very interesting and very telling as a series. So I did enjoy it quite a bit, honestly, so far. And it'll be interesting to see how they end this season. Because some people were saying they're going to bring his dead brother back out of nowhere, which doesn't make any sense because that dude is super dead. Like, literally, like, he is not there anymore, dude. Like, he is not an individual that's alive anymore. So I don't know how they think they're going to bring that guy back out of, like, literally death's doors. What would be then? So but yeah, it's just weird. So yeah, I have no idea how they're gonna pull that one off. But I don't know. We'll see. Time will tell. Who knows? Who the fuck knows? But anyways, that being said, that is where I'm at for the day. And hope you guys enjoyed this, because I will be back at some point in the near future. I'm not exactly sure exactly when yet. It might be a couple of days from now. It might be tomorrow. It might be a bunch of time in the future. I don't know yet. But it'll be at some point, though. And that is about it for today, though. Because I got stuff I gotta do. I am extremely tired. I don't feel the greatest. And I definitely gotta eat something because I feel like my blood sugar is not in the great shape right now that it needs to be. So I want to obviously get something to eat and then do whatever after the fact. So I'm pretty sure NE is having a little weird ass toy chat or whatever it is now. But anyway, on that note, though, I will be, like I said, I'll be back at some point. I don't know exactly when, but it'll be sometime in the future, though, for sure. And then I will be doing some stuff and some things, is what it is. So, anyways, it's been fun. It's been real. Hope you guys enjoyed this stream today. It's been a hell of a week for sure. And I'm just, like I said, I'm just kind of over all of it right now that it is, man. And I think everybody else is too, for that matter. Like, we're all just kind of done with the bullshit, if you will. So, unfortunately, far too many want to act like it's cool to be a fucking asshole when they could just as easily be a good person and not be a dickhead, basically. And unfortunately, far too many tend to take the dickhead route. So, but anywho's, on that note, that'll be it for me for today. It's been fun. It's been real. It's been telling for sure. And like I said, the only time we'll really tell what's going to happen here is what it is. And I think we'll definitely see a change in society pretty soon is what's going to happen. So, hopefully for the good, but who knows, man? Could be for the bad. Hopefully not, though. Hopefully it'll always be for the good because, you know, people need to be able to do their thing without having to be, you know, lambasted, etc. there for no reason at all. And like I said, really it just needs to be people just doing their jobs as what it is here, because if that were the case, like, I wouldn't even be doing these kind of streams anymore. But unfortunately, people are dumb and don't want to do their fucking job, and then, you know, try to tell you you're wrong when it's like, dude, I literally just talked to these people. Like, what the fuck? Like, why are you giving me shit at people? So. So yeah, like, it just, like I said, it really bothers me quite a bit because there is zero need for it. Like, it could just as easily have it be a good place and a good time and good things, and yeah, people just want to be dipshits, literally, when there's no need to be a fucking dipshit. So, anyway, I don't know, man. Like I said, it bothers me. I think it bothers a lot of other people. And I think, honestly, we just need to have, like, an actual, what you call it right now, to Yeah, that's where I go from there, basically. So, unfortunately, too many people just want to sort of fuck around, and then it's the same individuals that don't really give a fuck is what it is. So, it's kind of sad, actually. When you start looking into a lot of the stuff and realizing that no one really cares, what it seems like, or the ones that do seem to care don't really care enough, is what I best could describe it as, actually. So, it just kind of sucks, man. But anyway, on that note, like I said, I'm going to go ahead and call it a day right now and figure some things out and figure out what I want to do with some things, and basically just go from there is what it is. I think I'm probably just going to eat the same thing I had last night for dinner, which was technically cold pizza, but it wasn't bad, though. Well, I guess last night it was technically hot pizza, but, you know. Obviously now it would be cold pizza unless I would really want to heat it up in the air fryer or something like that, what it is. But I don't think I want to do that because I think I tried doing that once and it just didn't taste the greatest, and it also didn't taste the greatest out of my my microwave either. So it's like one of those situations where it just be like eat cold or like eat it some other way or something like that. I'm not sure, but maybe like a toaster oven that I don't have or something. It would be the other way, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, there's definitely some of that stuff that definitely needs to be done differently than it is. So I don't know if this guy behind me has his TV up really loud right now or what's going on. So I'm hearing something through the wall and it sounds like people talking, but I'm not sure. I heard it this morning too. I'm not sure if it was him waking up and watching TV or what the hell it was. So, but yeah, I keep hearing that person. I'm not sure if it's the same dude that was living there before or somebody else now, maybe. I think it's the same guy, honestly. But I'm not 100% on that one, though. Could be a different person now. Who knows? But I know he's doing something there, and then there's been some other people that have done other stuff too, for that matter. So haven't really heard Mickey in the last week or so, but and again, he might just be working right now. Who knows? I know some of these people do a good job when they're doing stuff, and those other people are just retards a little bit around here. So, anyways, so like I said on that, man, I think I'm gonna go ahead and call it a day because I am getting pretty tired. Not feel the greatest. Some stuff I gotta do, and then I'm gonna see about calling my cousin then again. And I know we talked a little bit today, and I know he was gonna take me out tomorrow to go to the store. So I'm not sure if that's gonna be like early morning tomorrow or it's gonna be like afternoon tomorrow. I think maybe he said afternoon already, but I'm not sure on that one. So I need to give him another call back and then confirm like a time basically what it is there, so I don't have to deal with that bullshit again. So and then hope to God that I can get a hold of somebody tomorrow at this place and work out this med issue. And like I said, because I guarantee that viability of that first one is not going to be viable, especially when it's here from Monday. So, and that's what I'm worrying about right now, is just having that fucking package come in and then have it be a situation where it's, you know, just completely warm to the touch on every side of it to be then, which is not good. But yeah, it's a whole fucking deal what it is there. Yeah, I'll send you an email at some point. I meant to go to my email today and get it on there, but I totally forgot, or yesterday, but I totally forgot to. So, like I said, it's been a hell of a week today. Or today is like the topping of the fucked up week I've had, basically, and yeah, it's just not good, man. So, yeah, I'll get that to you here in the next probably 12 hours or so, give or take. Maybe I'll jump off here and send that to you then, and then go from there, basically. So, but yeah, it's like a whole mess basically right now, and yeah, it's just not, like I said, shit's just fucked up right now is what it is. So it's just very unfun. But yeah, it's just the situation there of just not having it basically. For some reason my throat keeps, it's like almost like I can't get enough like liquid in my mouth. So I don't know. I think maybe it's just a dry air maybe is what it is here. I know the humidity is like kind of high today, or at least it was earlier. Let me check my phone real quick and see if it's telling me humidity right now. Let's see here. This is 25 minutes ago. Yeah, it's like it's mid 70s, but it's like 70 something percent humidity right now is what it is. I think maybe that's causing me to have a little bit more of a dry mouth. Just that excess humidity is what it is there. So I could be wrong about that, but I assume that's what the problem is right now. Yeah. You know, gotta deal with that stupid bullshit as it is. But anyways, that being said, that is where we will be at for today. And like I said, I'll be back. I'm not sure if it's going to be tomorrow or Sunday or something. It'll be sometime probably this weekend though, and then I will keep doing the Tactical Tuesday as far as I can do, or Tactically Cool Tuesday on Tuesdays, as long as I can keep doing those. And we'll start doing, I think, like I said, I think we'll do like probably 10 to 15 minute streams on those from now on, where it's me just like reviewing like one or two items at most, and like a quick succession. Because I was talking to Muffin Top about some stuff, and he actually specifically said that I guess supposedly there is a deal going on with YouTube here where any stream over like a half hour or something like that is now like non-viable, I guess is what it is, or they're just like kind of like decreasing the traffic or something to those ones. And then it's becoming a situation then where it would be only like shorts and like smaller streams are going to be viable or whatever for like the algorithms. So if that be the case, and I can do like a 10 or 15 minute streams, what it is, then I will. Or like I said, if it'll be maybe like a 20, 25 minute at most, or something like that, like that's what it would be then. So, but yeah, I don't know, man. It's only time will tell exactly what I feel like doing, what it is then. So, because right now I just feel like basically doing nothing for the next day or two, honestly. I'm just sort of chilling out and hoping that I can get, you know, a med delivery is what it is there, and if I can't, then I'm just kind of, I guess, fucked. So, I don't know, man. Like I said, I am very upset with these people, though, because you would think, like, if you actually cared about someone and their health and the fact you know that they're needing this stuff, and your entire point of your pharmacy is to send that to them. And like I was explaining to that woman too this morning, it's like, this is only viable for like X, Y, and Z amount of time, lady. Like, you know, like, you would think you'd want to send it to me in a proper manner. And then she keeps kind of giving me the shit about like, oh, well, it's going to be sent to you, da, da, da. And it's like, except it's not. That's the point. Like, it's not being sent today. And this is what I'm trying to explain to you that you're not apparently understanding. So please understand from my perspective that this is what's happening and that your updated information is wrong. And it's going to be updated later today, I guarantee it. And that's the thing. She wasn't getting that apparently through her head is what it was, dude. So I don't know. I think it's just fucking nonsense is what it is. And that's the problem having to deal with stupidity is what it is there, because then you gotta deal with dumb motherfuckers who don't seem to give a fuck about stuff and would rather just fuck off, basically. So, yeah, just sucks, dude. Fucking big time. But anyway, not really much you can do about it, unfortunately. The only thing you can really do is just kind of take it on the chin, I guess is what it is, and then hope for the best, I guess. So, but like I said, there's no fucking chance that I'm gonna go ahead and take that crap when it would come in, because I just don't trust it. I don't trust the viability of it. I don't trust that it would not be good. And I just want them to send me another one at this point, honestly, what it is. And they better do that on their end, without trying to charge me some bullshit thing or whatever. Because if that be the case, I'll just have my dermatologist intervene and be like, hey, like, you guys are going to have to do it on your end. Here's what it is, and talk to them about it, because they obviously done fucked up with what it is here and sent it to the wrong hub or whatever. And it's obviously gotten delayed, and they're trying to fuck me over, basically. That's what it is. So, which hopefully that's not the case. I don't think they're purposely trying to fuck me over, is what it is either. But like, at the same time, like I said, when they're not wanting to do what needs to be done to enact something that would actually help me, that's the problem I'm having right now, is what it is. So, yeah, it's like a whole thing, man. And like I said, it'd be one thing if it was, you know, something else entirely, but the fact of the matter is, it's like, hey, like, I need this stuff, and I need it now, people. Like, I don't need it 10 days from now, I don't need it, 2 days from now, I don't need it 3 days from now, I need it today. Right now. So, but yeah, it just sucks, man, because fucking ass people don't want to do their job. And of course, you got the retard trains coming through again now. Which is exactly why I fell asleep this afternoon, actually, because I was finally able to get a nap in. And the super fucking trains were coming through. And now they're back again. So, anyway. Yeah, I think I'm going to go ahead and get another glass of water here and see if I can't get something to eat. Then is what it is. See if I can actually get my system back to square one. Nothing else. So hopefully I can. Hopefully I can get everything done and get it to the point where I actually need it to be a thing. So but yeah, it's a whole thing. Like I said, it definitely is to a point right now where I think we're heading towards a fucked up time of history right now. And I don't see it getting much better, honestly. In fact, I think it's going to get a lot worse before it ever gets better. And unfortunately, a lot of stupid people are doing a lot of stupid shit that's basically not going to help anybody. So, and it's unfortunate. It really is. Because we could do better. We could be better as a society. And unfortunately, a lot of people just don't want to do their job. And it sucks to know. It really does, because if they did, things would be a lot smoother. Things would be a lot easier. And truthfully, I think our society would be a lot better off as what it is long term. So, actually, I think that was interesting too. So I was listening to something this morning before we go today. Listening to something interesting this morning. It was J.D. Vance was talking about some stuff, and he was discussing specifically. It was the what do you call it now? Yeah, it would have been the people who were doing the feds, as it was. It was him discussing the federal takeover of different stuff and how within like 9 days you had the feds fix stuff there in DC that was not being fixed by Democrats for years now. And he said something about, I guess, the homicide rate was down like, I think it was like 43 or 53% in that time, something like that, in like that 9 day time span. But I also heard an interesting one last night where supposedly carjackings in DC are now down 83% in that same time period, which is just insane, dude. Like, to know that you had that much fucking carjacking going on in that city that nobody really seemed to give a fuck about. So it's mind blowing, honestly. It really is. Because what that really shows to me is that you had so many people just not doing their job or just not giving a fuck. And so now you have people going in there and actually doing their job. And we're finally seeing the outcomes come to fruition, if you will, to where you actually are seeing America finally getting back to where it needs to be, which is a viable country of individuals who actually give a damn about law and order is what it is there. So, but yeah, it's the whole thing, man. But I think the only time we'll really tell exactly how long it'll be until everything goes down, basically. And hopefully it'll be sooner rather than later, but, you know, you never know, man. It'll be interesting, though, to see. Like, it really will. And I think it'll be very telling of how our society is when it's all said and done. So, you know. Shit, that's not giving me anything more I wanted on that one. Sorry, I'm playing in a new account right now. I'm trying to figure out like what I can do here to get stuff right now, and it's not. Yeah, it's pretty much impossible. So. Anyway. But yeah, it'll be an interesting situation either way to see what happens here in the next couple of days, and then go from there basically. Hopefully I can get something done, but like I said, I have no idea because stupid people want to be stupid and not, listen to you when you're telling them stuff. So. That's good to hear. But yeah, like I said, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what happens though. And I think we're going to see definitely a situational switch in this country going forward. I know there was already talk of people saying that Trump's going to take over like Chicago next or whatever, and it's like, you fucking should. Like, you really should, honestly. That being said, it really should be Brennan Johnson doing his fucking job and, enacting law and order there is what it is. But again, Democrats are a bunch of assholes that don't do their fucking jobs as it is, man. So. They rather pass the buck to somebody else than it is there, instead of actually doing what needs to be done. So, that's what it is. Unfortunately, you can't fix stupid is what it is, man. So, and that's exactly what some of these Democrats are. They're a bunch of stupid fucking morons that don't give a shit about society, don't give a shit about law and order, don't give a shit about America. I'm gonna sit there and fucking clown for Democrats and just fuck off, basically. So, that's unfortunate because, again, all it does is it leads to bad deals all the way around. Leads to Americans getting hurt and killed, leads to all kinds of other bad shit. So, and it really wouldn't easily lead to is their complete kicking out of office is what it is there. Because you're not going to do your job, you shouldn't have a job. If you're going to sit there and be a complete scumbag piece of shit and then bitch and moan about stuff, it's like, no, you're part of the problem, dude. You're not part of the solution. Get the fuck out. And do not come back. Ever. Because we do not need you as a society. I would personally love to see permanent exile in some of these cases of these people. Like, just kick their ass out of our country entirely for life. And then just tell them to fuck off someplace else as it is then. Unfortunately, that would be more of a dictatorship kind of situation, but maybe that's exactly what we need right now, honestly, dude, a little bit. A lot of people are always like, oh, but if Democrats take back over, the whole point of that kind of thing would be Democrats couldn't take back over because they wouldn't be here anymore, people. So, I think that's kind of the point. It's like, oh, you're like, oh, if they ever take power again, it's like they can't take power because they're not going to be here to take power anymore. Duh. So, yeah. Like, it's kind of the point there, people. So, and I think that's unfortunately the point that a lot of people are missing is, yeah, it's like they can't take power if they're not here. And that's the point, they're not going to be here. If we just kick them the fuck out, is what it'll be then. So, but anyway, I don't know though. I think it's easier said than done, unfortunately, because probably be a bunch of stupid bullshit when it comes to, oh, but this, that, and the other thing. And it's like, no, this is how it's going to be now. And it's people putting their fucking foot down is what it is there, and growing a pair of nuts for once. And if we actually did that, you would have a lot more respect from a lot of other people than it is then. But like I said, if you can have, and I understand people's like, you know, hesitation with the federal troop thing, because again, you don't want federal troops on U.S. soil and things like that. But at the same time, because it will be like a standing army kind of situation, or whatever the case be. But at the same time, it's like, yeah, just fuck it. How hard is it to cross deputize cops, dude? And be like, you know, if you're dumbass mayor, you're dumbass whoever ain't gonna do stuff, like, here's the deal. We're gonna let you do this stuff now because, quite literally, you can do these things because you're now a federal agent or something. And it would be that simple, honestly. It'd be like, oh, they don't want you to do this stuff because you're, you know, local cop or whatever. Well, here you go. You're cross-deputized now like 2020. Go arrest these people now. Like, it would be that simple, honestly. And that way you wouldn't have the whole, like, oh my god, it's them trying to federalize law enforcement or whatever the case be. It's like, no, that's the whole point. We're not. And this is how you don't do that stuff. You simply enact other stuff in that place where it doesn't have to come to that point. So, and I think that's the problem with so many Democrat voters. They don't get that in between is what it is there, because they just hate, you know, police, society, whatever the case be, until it comes back around to them. And I think that was actually one of the funnier ones. I think during this whole thing actually was. This was a story I heard, I think it was sometime in the last week or so, and this is all getting off today's chat, actually. There was a bunch of old hippies that were at one of these little protest things, which I'm pretty sure the people are paid protesters at this point, because they're all, like, really, like, they're basically retire-age geriatric types is what it is there. And my guess would be that they're actually getting paid to be there is what it is, because obviously it would be a way to supplement their, you know, Social Security income and stuff like that. And so I think what's happening is they're getting money for that to, like, go out there and protest against, like, oh, Trump is, you know, Orange Man bad, stuff like that, or whatever the case be, and oh, we don't want federal takeover, crap like that, or whatever the case be, except they don't actually live in D.C. is what it is there. And so I think what isn't happening then is they're getting a paycheck from Soros or whoever else is there. And so then they're turning around and they're using that obviously to, like, supplement their income so they can pay for, you know, medication or whatever it is they would need. And so I guess it was at one of these events that I don't know if it was those people or if it was somebody else, but somewhere along the line you had, like, several of these individuals leaving one of these little dumbass, like, protests there in DC, and literally as they were leaving the other day, they got fucking mugged by some criminal. So it's like, you're supposed to be here to show that, like, this is a safe area, but then you get fucking robbed by someone as you're leaving one of these little whatever the hell protest things. So It really is true irony at that point, dude. Like, you can't make that shit up. And that's what makes it so much funnier. Is because of the fact that it's like, yeah, they're just dumb. They're just a bunch of idiots. And what they just showed is, like, exactly what we've been talking about this whole time, which is that all you're doing is proving exactly why people should be able to carry nationwide right now is what it is, dude. Even in the District of Columbia, there is what it is. And why you need law and order to be able to actually make the streets safe from criminals. Because like I've said before in these Freedom Fridays and a lot of other streams on this channel, it's not like it's a million people doing this stuff. It's maybe a couple 100,000 at most, dude. You know, they're in New York State specifically New York City area. It wasn't like a million people in New York City, you know, doing a bunch of looting of fucking stores and like robbing every place. It was literally like 50 fucking assholes that were doing like 87% of the fucking crime or something like that in that area is what it was there for retail theft. And if you take out those 50-something assholes, you have no more retail theft, basically. But that's the problem. People don't want to do that. And then you wonder why people get all pissed off about it then, dude, and being like, well, this is fucking bullshit, dude. Because it is. Because you're absolutely stopping people from being able to live in this country and not have to deal with severe fucking bullshit of a bunch of criminalities what it is there. So it's a bunch of bullshit with it is, dude, for real. And I think that's why so many of us are just fucking over it. Yes, I finally got a thing. Yes, yes, yes. Finally. Obviously, I'm playing my game in the background here. I just was able to pull, we got the Scarecrow event going on again. I was able to get the 100 Survivor tokens to reset one of my guys now. So if I want to, I can actually get a bunch of stuff out of that right now and then figure out what I want to bring up for viability-wise right now, what it is. And I guess I have a couple people in there. I don't know, what's my current proposal, like 370 million? It's going to be less than that, obviously, because I got to do Dwight here. So that'll be about 320 million. Yeah, it's still not bad. Oh yeah, I meant to mention that actually. So Glenn, in game now, which we'll talk about this on the list. You know, your channel later is what it is. When they redid that the other day in this game, that dude can now be done with a single fragment, like a lot of the other ones, like Jesus and stuff can. So that's good. Because I figured, I honestly thought they were going to do some bullshit where they were like, oh, it's going to be, you know, 1 million fragments to get him up or whatever. There's what it is, but for like the 5 or 6 or 7 or whatever it is for some of the characters. But now it's a single one to do it across the board. So as long as you have the character already, I think it's like 50 fragments or something like that. Get him all the way to level 1 then, which is pretty good actually. So, but anyway. But yeah, on that note, I think I'm going to go ahead and, like I said, call it a day then. And I'll be back at some point. Oh, man. Super tired right now. Oh, God. I hope body just hurts right now. I know for a fact it's got to be from the not having the shot in my system currently, which is not good at all. So we got these dumbass retarded morons outside right now. I think everyone wants to hear their stupid ass fucking beatboxing in their fucking system. I seriously hate people do that shit, dude. So you got me, this motherfucker. Like, shut your stupid bullshit off before you hit the fucking parking lot. It's another reason why I just want to leave this place as soon as possible, because I don't want to deal with that stupid retarded bullshit for another 6 months or a year, or whatever it's going to be now. I mean, I know it'll be at least another 6 months here, but like, After that, I don't have to deal with another 5, 6, 7, 8 months, 10 months, whatever it is then, a year, longer than I have to. So I'd rather just get the fuck out of here as fast as possible and then move to a better area potentially that's closer to my family in this area, or even move down a different spot or something like that if I can find. If I could find something viable down in the major cities, I might go down there, but I don't know if I really want to do that as it is, just because I really don't want to live in major cities as it is in this country. I swear I'd never do that again, and I just don't really want to have it be a thing either for that matter. Plus, I don't think I could find a place down there that would be suitable for me to where I could even have it be viable enough to how am I trying to say this now? To where I could have like a chiropractor and a bunch of other stuff there is what it is. So, and then not too much, I wouldn't really feel comfortable or safe probably living in most of the places down in that area is what it is. So that I could afford anyway. Like, because even right here where I'm at, like, this isn't really like ghetto, but like it's, you know, adjacent, I guess is what I'd call it, basically. And I just don't want it to be a situation where I end up having to move into a fucking ghetto, basically, because I can't afford anything else is what it is there. I'd much rather be it. Like, I just find like a place in this area, someplace that I could actually afford, and then go from there. It'd be awesome if I could get one of the guys that lives elsewhere to just move here to Ohio and maybe just share a place or something like that. We could definitely afford together then. But I just don't see that being the case right now. So, unfortunately. So, I don't know, man. Like, it's just, it sucks. It does. I also feel like Vivek's going to fuck everything up if his dumbass does become the governor of the state then. I really fucking hate that guy. I think the thing I hate about him most right now is the fact that he has not made one damn stance about the Second Amendment at all, and yet wants to be the governor of the fucking state, but yet wants to take credit for like, oh, but property tax this and property tax that. And it's like, yeah, dude, and that's the General Assembly right now doing that with not your ass in it, and not your ass as governor. So what the fuck, dude? You have nothing at all to do with this. Like, shut the fuck up about it. So, you know, it would be one thing if you were like encouraging people in the General Assembly to be like, hey, like, be past this, that, and the other thing, and that'll be more viable or whatever for everybody in the long run. But the fact that you haven't done none of that, and you're trying to take credit for other people's work, like, fuck you, dude. Seriously. That's actually one of the interesting things somebody brought up too, is how you have people like Ramaswamy and everybody else like that who will not produce anything at all in their own countries, and yet they'll come to our country, or their parents will come to our country, is what it is here, and they'll try to take over and stuff, and then they'll basically just like suck off the teat at that point of an already established America that was built by other people, is what it is there. So, and I think that's where I'm getting kind of frustrated with, is what it is there, because I see that every single day is what it seems like. Where you got all these fucking freeloaders coming here from these third world nations and trying to take, you know, stuff that my ancestors actually built, as what it is there, and take my fucking generation of wealth out of my hand, is what it is. So, but yeah, like I said, I'm still pissed at the banks for fucking me out of the house, as what it is there. Because it wasn't for those goddamn sons of bitches, I would still own my family's property. And I think that one's probably the biggest hurt, honestly. And if it wasn't for the fact that we had to pay that big ass mortgage and stuff like that, where, I don't know, I feel like in hindsight we should have, like, the second that mom got in the hospital, like, obviously hindsight's 20/20 and everything like that, but at the same time, like, it's, the second that mom went to the hospital back in 24, within like a week or two of that, we should have been at the fucking bank and just like trying to refinance stuff and been like, hey, we're pretty sure she's, you know, in a position where she's not going to be able to pay this in the future. Like, is there a way that I can take this on now under my name? And we simply refinance stuff. I swear to God, it's like there's some asshole in my fucking parking lot with their stupid system up, just like revving the motherfucker like an asshole. Here, there's this dickhead behind me, one of the two. But either way, it's fucking annoying. Even though it's like almost 9 o'clock right now. So, I don't know. It is what it is, man. Oh my God, these fucking trains. I swear to God, if I ever do go insane, you guys will know why. And the paper will literally read, and all he kept saying was, the trains. The trains. Yeah, I'm not gonna live in somebody else's house like that for like a room for rent. I have like the thing is even if I got rid of like half the shit I have right now, I would still have way too much stuff to have it be a room. I need an actual apartment at this point. Or like even like a 1 or 2 bedroom house is what it is then. So like I need something. Like this place is not bad. Like that's the thing. If it wasn't for these fucking trains and it wasn't for like everything else, then like this place would be okay, honestly. Like long term. Like I would say truthfully, if it wasn't for the trains, like it would be perfect. But because of the fucking trains, like it's, you know, like kind of situation there. And I know Tactic Muffin Top and I have had this conversation at least once or twice where we were talking about minimalist lifestyles and stuff like that. And I was like, what if I want to live maximalist? Although to be fair, I've seriously considered right now in the last couple of weeks or so if my body was better off right now, like I was seriously considering just like packing my stuff one day and just like sort of disappearing for a while. And it would just be a situation of that I'm just, you know, kind of just done, basically. So, this thing is messed up or something. It keeps telling me I need more water, but I don't. It's like, dude, I have enough. What are you even talking about there? Okay, there it goes. But yeah, like I said, it's so infuriating sometimes. Like you're just trying to, you know, barely succeed is what it is, and it seems like every time you turn around, somebody's just kicking you in the face, basically. So, I don't know. The only good that can come out of this right now, honestly, is I know that Trump has now floated. If you are, how do you put it now? It was basically if you are able-bodied enough to work, but you're not working, and you're on Section 8 housing, that you have to then work, or you get kicked off within like 2 years or so, I think is what it is. And then if you are disabled permanently like I am, like you can basically be on it for a while. And I think truthfully that's what I need right now. I just need like a voucher is what it is. Because that's the thing. If I can get like a voucher for like a 2-bedroom and stuff, like that wouldn't even be a problem then, dude. Like I would literally just go down to Columbus, and that's what it is, and just find like a nice ass, like fucking rich ass neighborhood down there to live in, and just get like either a 2-bedroom house or a fucking like 2-bedroom apartment or something. Like that's what it is then, and be living it up like a motherfucker. So, but unfortunately, right now, when it comes to Section 8 housing in the state of Ohio, it's like I think the 3-year wait right now for voucher programs, which is just insane, honestly. Like, it really, truly is insane. And most of that has to do with the fact that there's so many fucking freeloaders on the system right now, is what it is. And I'm sorry, but when you have, like, generational scumbags like that on the system, like, they need to be fucked off the system right now, is what it is, dude, for real. So, and I have no problem saying that. Because they are the problem with our society right now. Because these are the same people that it's their dickhead kids, their dickhead grandkids, that are the ones committing so much of this crime in DC and every place else, it seems like now. So, or hell, it might be their great grandkids now in some cases. I also heard a really interesting one this morning. This is where we're going to leave off, I think, completely now is what it is. It was a YouTube, or not YouTube, it was a Facebook real thing. And it was this guy talking about abortion because he was talking with this woman who was babbling on about like women's rights being taken away or something like that. And he's like, which rights are you talking about? Like, name them. And obviously he brought up abortion, what it was then. And he's like discussing how it was 60 million kids since Roe versus Wade became a thing in the 70s have been killed here in America. And it's crazy to think, dude, because, you know, you think about that, right? Like 60 million children have been murdered in the womb since the 1970s. We would never need immigration in this country ever if those 60 million kids have been alive now. So, yeah, it's very, very frustrating for sure. Because you have people who are basically trying to, first off, they're trying to claim like abortion is like this whole thing or whatever, but like the fact of the matter is it was always meant to be a rare case. Like really it was meant to just be like rape and incest cases, which are like legitimately, I think it's less than 1% of the fucking stuff that's actually done for that. Or maybe it's like right around 1%, something like that. It's not a lot. It's like either half, it's like roughly about maybe like 0.2% or something like that, or it's like roughly 1% more or less, and then everything else is like legitimately it is like basically convenience, because like this guy said they're trying to use it as like a condom basically, to where it's like, oops, got pregnant again, gotta go abort this kid now. So it's so fucked up, dude. Son of a bitch. I knew I should have checked the thing before this. Okay. So we got a bunch of comms going on tomorrow morning. Yeah, I guess that's fine if I burned a 24-hour shield, because I didn't really burn a 24-hour shield. I burned about 14 hours of a 24-hour shield, or about 10 hours of one. By the time we're going to take those tomorrow, so yeah. So we got, let's see. Yeah, it'll be about 10 hours left on that shield, so technically I would have had to put up another shield anyway. So I probably had to do like 2 8-hour shields instead or something, so. But that's good to know. So we're taking a bunch of comms tomorrow, what it is then. In 5-minute intervals, which will be a pain in the ass if it is. That's the one thing about having multiple accounts in this one, because yeah, it's a fucking bitch to do that stuff then. Because you're lucky if you get a couple hits apiece, and that's what it is. These events. Actually, what are we? Where is our first column here anyway? Trying to see what the payout on these are now. Because they're supposed to have doubled this time around now or something. Yeah. Yeah, it looks like they doubled it up then. So instead of it being, what you call it, it's like twice that. I mean, that's still so low. Like, it should be several hundred, not a couple, not like 100 or 200 or whatever it is now. So, I don't know. Well, I guess it would all be doing from about 10 to 10:30 in the morning then. So, anyways. But yeah, on that note, it is like 5 minutes of 9. So, I will call it a day for the stream. Whew. And I'll be back, like I said, probably. I'm not sure yet. It'll be Tuesday for sure. It might be before that though. I'm not 100% right now. It might be tomorrow or Sunday, depending. I want to do some stuff, and then go from there basically. So I am gonna actually use, since I have that Scotch tape thing right now, I'm gonna show, before we leave today, I'm actually gonna show this other knife that I have here because I want to see just truly how dull this thing is compared to this cardboard. What it is, I know it's not great compared to the stuff, so I'm gonna see how dull this actually is with the cardboard then. Oh, I guess it actually does cut. Shockingly. That is surprising. I thought I did not have an edge at all on it. Maybe it's just the way it was cutting earlier. Yeah, I guess it does have an edge then. Okay. Well, it must have just not been a good edge then if that be the case either way or something. So, yeah, it's a little surprising. I'm surprised that was cutting then. Yeah, I mean, I guess it does have an edge out of the box then. I thought it didn't. It had to be the paper then if that be the case, because it's definitely cutting through this. Definitely slicing through that cardboard then. Yeah, like there it didn't do too good of a job, but maybe it's just the way I'm holding it. Like if I'm holding it straight, it's not really doing a good cut. If I'm doing it like off to the side, it's doing a better one or something maybe. Yeah, like it's not super great, but yeah. Yeah, it's not terrible. Like it's got an edge for sure on there, but maybe give it like a swipe or two through the electric grinder or something like that and see if I can get a slightly better edge on this thing or something. So this does feel good in the hand though. And I think these are roughly, I think this 2-pack was roughly about the same price as one of the Mora knives. So like about the same blade size and strength and stuff like that. And I think the Mora knives might be a little better quality than the 1411, but I'm not sure about that one. So they might be around the same actually. DCR MOV 15. So I just know this company's been around since 1999. So because it says it right on there. Their thing, quality since 1999. Yeah, but this does feel nice in the hand though. This almost kind of reminds me a little bit of like a smaller version of the knife that was in movie Scream as their main murder weapon. So obviously I bring that up because I guess they're making another one of those Scream movies now that they're supposed to be bringing back the original guys that were dead this whole time. That was pretty weird. And I'm like, how are you going to bring back a dead man? Like, again, kind of goes back to what we were talking about with Dexter earlier. Where it's like, yeah, how are you going to bring back a character that's like obviously had their throat cut in the first season and was like dismembered and shit? Like, it makes no sense, dude. So, unless it's like, the only thing I could think is it would be some stupid bullshit where they like try to pull something where it's like Dexter's comatose state or something like that, and like his brother's spirit or something took over his body or something now, or some shit like that. Like it would be something real dumb like that, but then it would be like all like weird, like retarded supernatural shit or something like that. And I think that would just, I know that for me as a fan, I'd be like, nah, I'm fucking out on that one, bro. Because that would be just like such a stretch for me, even. So, but yeah, I was using my little Work Pro pen light today though when I was doing my laundry the other day, and this actually did work out pretty well. I was able to get down. I forget if it was the. Yeah, it would have been. Okay, so it would have been what you call it light there is what it is. I was able to push that down into the thing for my washer and make sure there was nothing in it still. I guess technically I could have gone on the sidebar though. Or even maybe the little black light there is what it is. Which, like I said, the weird thing about the black light is it was showing up like other things. Like if I do this on my hand still. Oh, is there anything in my hand now still? Oh yeah, I'm seeing like little like bits and pieces of things. Let's see if I can show you that. If it actually shows up on my thing or not. I guess it won't. Probably not close enough, but yeah, I can see like little like specks of stuff. But I can only see more like specks of something from cutting with the that tape thing is what it is there. So, but yeah, it's weird to see that kind of stuff on your hand, but then, like I said, it won't show up like, you know, like a blood stain or like a other kind of stains. So, but then again, maybe those need luminol. I'm not sure. I think blood does, but I don't know about like other bodily fluids and stuff. But when you specifically, you know, call yourself a thing in your description of that it should be picking up, you know, like urine stains or whatever, like pet stains and stuff like that. I'm not seeing any of that stuff. It's just weird. So I may take that into the bathroom actually here in a little bit because I was cleaning up stuff in my bathroom last night. When I moved in here, I don't know what the fuck happened with the people that used to live here. If they just like projectile vomited on the wall or something like that, never cleaned it up, or what happened there, because it, like I looked in my bathroom when I walked in there the first time months ago, and of course I just didn't get a chance to get it until now because it was like hard to reach up and get it there is what it is. But yeah, like if you go in the bathroom, like it's like if you're standing like right here, like eye level, like you can see like a little bit of stuff, but then you look up like maybe like 2 feet in the bathroom or something like that, because it's about a 9-foot ceiling, give or take. And there's like this weird ass, like, it's almost like a stainage that's there. And I'm like, what the fuck is that? And it's like this weird, like, it's almost like an orange stain. And I thought was like rust at first. And I'm like, I don't think that's rust. And yeah, it's either somebody like bent over as much as they possibly could and like projectile shitted on the fucking wall. Or I was thinking last night for the first time, like, because I didn't really think about it off and on too much. But yeah, this is like maybe like the third time I thought about it. And it finally came to me last night of like, okay, so somebody, you know, let's say I was about to get sick or whatever, and I ran in here real quick, but I was missing the toilet because I'd have to go like down to the toilet or whatever. And like I puked before that or whatever, like where would this land? And sure enough, like it would land like my height specifically, it would land like almost directly, like especially if I was like up like that or whatever, I was like, I'm like, you know, it just kind of spewed out or whatever. It would land like almost in the direct pattern of where whatever's on that wall. So the only thing I can think is it must have been something where maybe it was like that tenant or even a previous tenant from them, like puked on the wall and just did never clean it up properly or whatever, which is fucking gross because if that is the case, like, first off, the landlord themselves should have cleaned that shit up or had somebody else clean it up so it is then before I moved in here. And then secondarily, like it doesn't take that much to clean it up either, dude, because I even took, I think it was a piece of paper towel and like a little bit of water on it and was able to like wipe it off basically. So all they would have had to do was either do that or take like some kind of a like wet wipe pack and just take like a wet wipe out of there and just wipe the fucking shit down with like a wet wipe. So I don't know. It just seems like rather laziness, I guess is what I'd say on that one, and pretty disgusting laziness on that case. So anyway. I don't know if my joint is hurting from inflammation right now, if it feels like I got like a weird like splinter or something in it from like cut and stuff. It's hard to tell. Might be both even. So that is a stat statistic right there is what it is. So there should be 12.5 million Gen Z kids right now, or Generation Alpha, whatever we want to call them now. So it'd be like my niece's generation of kids that are like 10, 11, 12 years old, something like that. That's really, really sad, man. Again, you would never need immigration in this country, even legal immigration for that matter, if we just simply outlawed abortion completely is what it is then. Or maybe just do like rape and incest is the only times where it can be, you know, used or whatever. But even then, like I said, it's like such a low frequency on that one that like that would make up like maybe like 1%, if even that many. And in that case, that would be the safe, legal, rare thing is what it is there, because that was the whole point of Roe versus Wade to begin with. It was supposed to be rare instances while being safe and legal is what it is there, and not being, you know, charging these females with, you know, murder and stuff like that after the fact is what it is or something. So I don't know. It bothers me from a bunch of perspectives personally. And I think it's mostly due to the fact that as someone who believes that the most innocent should be able to live, it's fucked up that you're snuffing these kids out when they're not even, you know, able to fight back, basically. And the worst thing is the ones that do it at 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 months in the fucking womb in some cases. And it seems like a lot more of those cases are becoming reality these days. And it's like, yeah, what the hell's the matter with you as a, you know, woman at that point, that you're going to sit there and well, the thing I think is most fucked up is the one I heard about probably a year or so now ago, where it was, or maybe not quite a year, maybe about 9, 10 months now or so, but it was sometime last summer, I believe is what it was. You had this woman who was, she had gotten pregnant. She was in her, I believe, 8th month of pregnancy, so it'd be 3rd trimester at that point. And it was in, I believe, Portland, Oregon, someplace in there. And she was, I believe she was Antifa, or maybe Antifa adjacent is what was there. And she decided one day that she wanted to then have them do abortions on her is what it is. And people were like, dude, like, that kid is viable right now. Like, it can literally be born alive at 8 months right now. Like, you could just induce labor right now. And she's like, no, I want to go there and have him kill it instead. Like, how fucked in the head are you at that point that you're going to sit there and be like, that's an option? Like, it boggles my mind, honestly, dude. Like, it completely flabbergasts my mind is what it is there, dude, to where you can sit there and be like, it's okay to do this. Like, no, it's not. It's never okay to do that, dude. Especially in that case. So, yeah, like, it just, like I said, it just, like, it just blows me away, honestly, dude. And it really just disgusts me in general. Because then you have all these fucking Hollywood shows that are just like, oh yeah, don't ruin this kid's life with a teen pregnancy or whatever the case being. It's like, then maybe keep your fucking legs shut, you know? Or here's a wild idea: adoption is an option, you know? Like, that's one thing I heard this morning. Even it was that girl from Stranger Things, Millie Bobby Brown. It's her and her husband guy who are both in their, I think, mid-20s or so, early 20s, something like that. They decided to have their first child in the last year, and they got it through adoption. They didn't even have a biological child yet. So it's like, yeah, dude, adoption is an option, like even for a young couple like that. So it's like, why not? You know, like take one of these kids out of the foster care system that would need that. You know, allow a kid to be born alive and, you know, adopt that child is what it is then, and give them a good home is what it is, man. Like honestly, if I could afford to do that and they would give it to me as a single man, like I would have already adopted at least one or two kids at this point, honestly, dude, and be a father. But unfortunately, they look at people like me as like, oh, it's just some random dude or whatever, and think I'm like some creeper or something like that. When in reality, I just want to be a fucking dad, is what it is, dude. You know, and give my knowledge on to the next generation of kids is what it is there. So anyway. When you got stuff like that, obviously, it's fucking disgusting what it is, dude. Actually, I'm glad you brought that up, actually, because that reminds me of something else I want to mention before I leave today. So there was a story that came out, I think it was like 2 weeks ago or so, maybe 3 weeks ago now, where it was these two gay dudes were doing like this weird celebration thing where they had adopted this young boy, is what it was. And it was like them going through, I think it was the kid's like first like 4 months of life or something, and like this weird like collage of photos and stuff. And then as it turns out, at least one of the two guys is a registered sex offender, yet was somehow able to adopt a child. Like, tell me that's not our system failing at that point. And we don't know if the other guy's registered too, for that matter, or if he's a sex offender too, for that matter. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if both of them were at this point, honestly, given the fact that we already know one of them is, obviously. And the thing is, it's not like this dude, it's not like this guy was like one of these people that's like, you know, they got caught at like 19 or 20, you know, banging like a 16 or 17-year-old or whatever the case is. Like, as far as my understanding was, this sick fuck was some dude in his 30s that was molesting kids from the age of 10 is what it is there. So, you know, and to let him literally adopt a fucking child that is a toddler or a newborn is absolutely fucking disgusting, dude, entirely. And that's a complete fail of our system at that point, in my opinion. And that is exactly why you should have safeguards in place for these young kids, man, so they don't get fucking put in houses like that. And I'm not saying that I'm not going to sit there and say that we should like outlaw like, you know, adoption by like gay parents or lesbian parents or anything like that. But like when you start looking at the statistics and stuff like that of how many of these people go out there and do that stuff and then adopt these kids, and then it turns out that they're just like some fucking nutters that want to like hurt these children is what it is, dude. Like, yeah, maybe, I don't know, screen better is what it is then. Like there was another one I heard here, it was probably like the last, I don't know, 2 months or so, where it was this lesbian couple who had adopted a boy and ended up torturing this kid to death because they were basically like hardcore third wave feminists / misandrists that hated men. And instead of just, you know, letting that man hate be, you know, whatever, they literally adopted a young male just to kill this kid. And it's beyond horrendous, dude. And like, that's what I'm saying. Like, this is exactly what the death penalty is meant for in our country. And the fact you have people wanting to outlaw our death penalty is ridiculous. If anything, we should have better methods to the death penalty, and it should be more express methods at that point where it's like, yeah, you harm a child, you are done, bro. Like that fucking day. Like you get literally dragged through the fucking streets and drawn in court and shit like that or something. Or like a brazen bull or the boats or something else for that matter is what it is there. So, like, it's basically the most torturous, hardcore death penalty possible for your ass. 24 hours of sentencing or something like that is what it is then. So, like, if you were proven to do this shit, like, you're done. You're gone. You're off this fucking earth forever is what it is then. So, anyway. But, yeah, on that note, though, it's about 9:15, and I'm going to go ahead and call it then because we've been here for almost 3 hours now. And that's the kind of horror story you hear more and more about every day, it seems like. That's probably what I'm talking about, I think. So, Yeah, just absolutely disgusting what it is. Just vile, vile shit, man. And like I said, like, how are you failing at that much of a system level that you are allowing this stuff to go on? And I feel like that's exactly where our system is broken all the way around, so it is there. So, and then of course there was that one, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 years ago now, where it was two lesbians in California who had adopted a bunch of kids and then basically went completely insane is what it was. I forget which one of them it was behind the wheel at the time, but they were supposed to be going. I think they adopted. I want to say they had adopted like 4 or 5 kids from the same family as what it was there that were all in the system because the parents were like drug addicts or dead or something like that's what it was. And like it seemed like this family life or whatever the case be, but it was like a 2-mother household kind of situation there because they were lesbians, obviously. And then it was randomly like all of a sudden you hear like this news story where it's like women drive off cliff with kids in car, and then it turned out like everybody figured out like it was this lesbian couple or whatever, and it's like what the fuck, dude. So yeah, one of these nutters was behind the fucking wheel and literally drove the van off the cliff with the California. There's what it is with the kids inside of it and their spouse too. So, and it's just insane, dude. It's also kind of insane how almost nobody seems to talk about how when it comes to lesbianism in our society, that they are actually the most hardcore violent people of all of them. Like per capita, when you start looking at domestic abuse in this country, the biggest domestic abusers are between 2 women in gay relationships. With I believe gay men are also pretty high on that list too, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, literally lesbians, and then it's like I think gays and transgenders are also up there too as well, pretty high. So, which makes sense because again, like you're, just violent to be violent, I guess is what it is. I don't know. But maybe it's some weird wiring in the brain or something that was there. But yeah, it's just like I said, just absolutely sickening is what it is, dude, and very disheartening to see all that stuff when we could easily just have a better society. So, which again is why I have the hat now. Is what it is. So, anyway. Yeah, I saw that one. I thought it was funny. It was I'm not sure exactly what that group is there, but they it was Jacob Pry talking about it this morning on X, the current mayor of Minneapolis, and he was discussing how because it's supposedly that DFL there in Minneapolis was like, oh, we did this because of irregularities in voting or whatever, and then it turned out that like Jacob is like, no, like this is obviously cheating. Like these people are trying to cheat me out of the mayoral race. Here's what it is, and it's like, yeah, no shit, Sherlock. Like that's what Islam does. They cheat to fucking win. They cheat to get their Islamic terrorism and fucking power, so they can then enact laws to fuck us over more and more. Is what it is there. And that's exactly, even going back to what I said about Vivek earlier, dude. That's why I don't want Vivek in power right now, is what it is, because I don't know if this motherfucker's not going to do some shit that's going to like fuck over Americans and put Indians first, is what it is, especially when he has previous tweets talking about how, oh, Americans are lazy and India is so much fucking better and stuff. But yet, we got like, 4 or 5 drivers now that got CDLs, can't even speak English in this country or understand our road signs and stuff like that have killed people now in the past like 2 weeks or something now. Like the guy in California was like the first one, but now there's been like 4 or 5 more in the last couple of days now and stuff that have come around. And it's like, yeah, how many of these fucking nutters are on our roads right now, like just offing people, dude? Or like just getting in like serious crashes and like hurting everybody. So it's just completely insane is what it is. Like, no wonder my shit was held up in transit there today. It's probably because this motherfuckers are the ones behind the damn wheels, what it is. People were like, yeah, we're not transferring to this jackass or something. So, I don't know. Like I said, though. But yeah, my plan right now, like I said, tomorrow is going to be I'll go over to Wally World and hopefully I can pick up a couple of these kind of knives that are the Valor and Sonder ones, which would be the $10 and $20, or the $20 and $10 ones respectively. What it is. I know the Valor one is 20, and then the Sonder one's $10. And if that be the case, then I'll do the Valor versus this Flessa in a head-to-head and see which one's sharper out of the box, and then I'll do a head-to-head between the Sonder versus that Coolpard PDA EDH, or sorry, not EDH, EDC. So, and we'll see which one of those is better, if it has a better flip out, or if it's something similar to this, would that be the case then? So. Well, okay, so that's going to be the last ones I'm going to get. That was what it is for the year. That's going to be the last ones I'm going to get until Black Friday time period, when they start dropping like the $5 knives. And I'll probably pick up like 3 $5 knives is what it is. But yeah, like as far as I'm aware right now, like I'll do, I really want those 2 Walmart ones is what it is there. So. And then I'll be the last ones I have money to buy, basically. So, for a while, a few months anyway. And then, yeah, from there I'll just do whatever then is what it is. So, but anyways, it is 9:21 right now, so I am going to go ahead and call it a day on that. And I'll be back, like I said, maybe tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow evening, something like that. Depending on when I can get out tomorrow to go shopping and stuff. If I can do it early enough, I'll do it early enough. If I have to do it later like this, I might do it later like this is what it is. Or I may just wait until Sunday morning and just do a stream then or something like that's what it is then. So might be like Knifey Sunday or something like that is what I'll call the stream. Sunday survival. Actually, that sounds good. Yeah. Survivalist Sunday. I'm not sure. I'll spitball a bunch of different ones. Actually, like Survivalist Sunday. That sounds good. Yeah, I might just do it as like Survivalist Sunday then. Simple Survival Sunday. I don't know. A bunch of different things I could call it there. So, yeah, I know they make t-shirts that have the same saying as my hat, but I couldn't find one of my sizes what it is, so I had to go with the hat instead. Although I'm not going to wear this hat in public is what it is, just because, you know, you never know what somebody is going to think. Plus, it would kind of defeat the purpose of if I actually am carrying concealed. So, versus, you know. Yeah, it's interesting that crossbar lock on this Flessa is like, it's almost like you need to like pull it down just like a little bit more than you should have to. Like I almost have to like dig my nail onto it to really get it to want to, because I can't get it with my thumb basically. I got to get it with like my nail of my thumb there. That's the only difference I do not like with these crossbars versus the like push buttony liner lock ones, is that it's like much harder to like push that back than it is to, you know, just grab one of these guys and just like flip it open. That would be a much easier situation like that, or really what I've been using as my current EDC, which is this Pontiac one that I think this was 16 when I bought it, and that thing just flips very easily. Also, I don't know if that would be like a sheep's head variant type of blade on that, or if that's just like would be more of like a chopper kind of look to it, but I like it though. And then it also has a decent little pokey window breaker on it then, which I think is nice. So, and this does have a pretty sharp blade on the package too. So you can also just, if you need to, flip it with the side tabs there as well. But yeah, I don't think this thing's an assist, but I'm not sure on that. But like, that's how a knife can flip open, by the way, is just like one click of the finger. So, unlike all the random BS that people have, there is what it is. So. But anyway. But yeah. I definitely want to get those 2 knives from Walmart though for sure, just because that was like 2 of the ones I wanted to buy for a while now, and since I basically found out about them, I know they've only been on sale for like, I think it was last Friday was when they first came out, so it's been about a week or so now that they've been out. So hopefully they'll have them in stock. So now they've limited them to I believe it's 2 per person that can buy them. So, which makes sense, especially if you are, they're going to be semi-good quality, and you don't want to have some asshole come in there and just like pull some bullshit gray market crap where they're just like, oh, let me buy like 50 of them at once, and then turn around and go on like eBay or where the fuck ever else and be like, oh, here, I got them now for you, but they're like 75 a piece or something like that. Because I know that's what people were doing with the that orange one that was the D2 one that came out a couple years ago, where it was like a $10 beater or whatever the case be, and they were buying up like basically the pallet load of the whole thing is what it is, and then turning around and jacking up the price to like $30, $40 a knife or something like that, what it is there, or even like 50 in some cases, and people were stupid enough to buy them at that price. So, but yeah, it's unfortunate you gotta set like limits on stuff just to stop people from creating bullshit fucking crony ass capitalism on their own. So, just once in my life, I would love to see America be a true capitalist society, is what it is there, where there's no cronyism left anymore. But I don't think that's going to happen until we start dealing with the real issues, and that would be the scumbag motherfuckers like Michael Bloomberg and stuff out there that are doing all this criminality and crony capitalist bullshit, and the politicians that they are endorsing and funding to push more of it, what it is there. So, but anyway. Well, that's the one thing I know with Walmart is that they specifically, it was somebody within the company within the last 2 years or so was like, hey, like, we need to start competing with these like higher brands is what it is. And so that's when they're using like the same kind of steel as what it is and whatnot, and trying to do it for like a lower budget price point. I forget what I remember I was watching a video, I think it was sometime last fall, like September, October of last year maybe. And it was people talking about the Black Friday knives at that point or whatever. And they were like, yeah, these people are on like a race to the bottom when it comes to like trying to make affordable knives for like the everyman is what it is there. And that's awesome. That's how it should be, honestly, dude. Because again, you should not have to pay, $50, $60, $100 for a fucking like decent quality knife. Like you should want to go out there and buy like 10 knives for your entire family for that price as like Christmas gifts or something like that's what it is. And then keep like 1 or 2 for yourself is what it is then too. Actually, I feel like if there's one thing that does, like going back about 10 months now or so, if there's one thing that does kind of bother me, it's the fact that when I was buying those knives last year at Walmart, if I had thought better of it, I should have done 2 things actually. I should have gotten a second fixed blade, and then I should have also gotten the little white one that was like this. That was $5. That was like the orange one, but it was like white. And I think the main reason I didn't is because like going to this $20 Flessa here, like what I said with the scales there, where it like it kind of looks like they're like a little bit like what you call it. Like if you did the white one of that, like orange variation there from Walmart, like those scales are so brittle on that thing. Like you could like basically push that in and like bust it with your thumb. And I think maybe that's the one reason why I didn't buy that $5 knife, is because I was like, yes, it's $5, but is it really worth $5 that it is there? Whereas thinking back to it now, it's like maybe I should have just picked up one, just on principle. But unfortunately, I did not do that. And I don't know, maybe they'll release something similar this year, and I can just pick up one of those then at $5 then. So I don't know. This little Flessa though for 20 that has the Oz 8 steel on it though is pretty nice. Which I know Oz 10 I think is the one that is like one step above the 1411. I believe that's the way it goes. I was watching something the other day about this. I think it's like 440, and then it's like the 1411, and then it's like the Oz 8. Or maybe it's 1440 and then Oz 8 and then 1411. I don't know, something like that. I think it's 1411 after 440, and then it goes this Oz 8, and then it'll be this, or it'd be the Oz 10, and then it goes Oz 8 after that or whatever. It would be like a variation of the Oz 10, which I know can hold an edge a little bit longer. So, but yeah, so this should be a good edge on here for a while. That's what it is. For $20, and I'll probably just use this to do like package openings in the future, like maybe just mail opening and stuff like that is what it is, or something. So I may or may not carry this around. It depends. So mostly because the reason I say that obviously is because of those scales just not being like super redundant or whatever you're gonna call it there. Like they have no like backbone to them, basically is the way I'm thinking of it, comparing to any other knives I have here, like specifically my current EDC here. Like this thing actually has the ability to have like an actual like metal liner in it, is what it is there. And you can see the difference, obviously, between the liner lock and this crossbar is that, well, one has metal in it, the other one does not, past a certain point. So, like, it's literally just like an empty space. There's what it is on that. Versus this has, like, the whole liner of it is complete metal. So... and I feel like if it was something where I had this in my pocket for long enough, it would probably bust on its own, versus having this in there. It's not going to do that. So, which is why I almost kind of like the liner locks more than I like these crossbars, just because of that reason. Because unless you're going, and I know that there are some crossbars that, like, if you get into that higher, like $35, $40, $50, $60 kind of knife is what it is there, it does have like that full liner as well then. But again, you shouldn't have to pay $35, $40, $50, $60 for a fucking knife just to get that quality is what it is there. So like that's my biggest drawback on that one. So I will say too, it seems to me like Flessa, when it comes to the $20 knife, here's what it is, and like the package that came in there. So there's a little weird like hook piece in the edge there that the clip was hooked into when I pulled this out of the box the first day. And I will say, like, brown box with your name on it, and the other $18.50 goes into the knife, basically is what it is there. Or $19, whatever it is, compared to the other guy that was $10, and it looked like maybe about $7 to $8 went into the knife. $1 for the packaging, and then like $1 or so for that bag is what it is there. So yeah, I don't know. So I already did that. I got that one over there. That's the Flessa one. And I don't think I need anything more than that, honestly. I mean, I technically got. I haven't shown it yet. I'm not going to show this until Tuesday. This is one of the flashlights I got today. That's kind of a multi-tool-esque thing, where it's got 6 modes on it, and it's also got a couple like bit screws and stuff like that you can put in there. Is what it is. So it's pretty cool. I think this was only like $7 or $8 maybe at most. It was something that 704 Tactical was talking about like a couple weeks ago, and I bought that. So yeah, I did way too much purchasing that day during the tax-free holidays here in Ohio, when I should have bought some clothes maybe or something for that same time period, which I didn't do that. But I still do have stuff that I've gotten, some new shirts and stuff like that. So at some point in the near future, I will show you guys one of my new shirts that I'm wearing when I am doing like a camo or something like that. So that'll be purple like I have one right now. I got some new shirts about 3-4 weeks ago from King Size that are like different now. I don't think they have I thought they had pockets in them, but I don't think they do have pockets in them. But they are pretty cool though. They seem like they're a lot better material than it is then for the price of them compared to some of the ones I have right now that are kind of, you put them through the wash 2, 3, 4 times and they're already like getting holes in them and stuff like that. So plus there's just several shirts I need to just toss right now that it is. So, and of course I got my cool Hawaiian shirt there, which I'll probably wear that one this fall or something like that to some event. Or maybe I'll just wait and keep that one for like next spring to where I can do like some cool 2A carry event. And I just wear out the Hawaiian shirt, then is what it is, and do some big igloo shit, then is what it is. So with the autism hat. I could totally see that. I could totally see me being the lead in some fucking photo where it's like you got the autism hat, and then it's the like me with a little bullhorn in my hand, and then I got the AR strapped to the chest or whatever, and then I actually have like a pistol in the pocket is what it is or something. So, and then wearing like a Hawaiian shirt kind of deal is what it is there. Everybody be like, damn, that guy's got a lot going on for sure. That photo. Probably try to scrutinize my ass at that point, but it's whatever. I don't give a fuck. I don't know. I'd like to do something with people, but unfortunately anymore, you know. I know Pat Wright talked about that in the past where he was talking about the like state militia guys and stuff like that, where it's, you know, you got everybody accusing everybody of being a Fed these days now, and then that shit just breaks up immediately is what it is there. And it's just sad. But and honestly, I would, like, truthfully, I would say the guy that's talking about, like, my thing is, like, if you have like groups like that and you have like somebody bringing up the, oh, well, you might be a Fed or this guy might be a Fed or whatever the case be, like, I'm pretty sure the person that's saying that stuff is probably the actual federal agent / agent provocateur that's trying to do some shit is what it is, dude, and like trying to fuck you over. So I would say maybe distance yourself from that person and go from there. Because I remember it was a couple years ago when we were still doing the, this was back when we did, obviously for those who don't know I'm going to give this story real quick before I leave today. Those who don't know the actual time period / progression to what is now the Higher Picture Education Network. Basically, my 2A advocacy started in 2019 after the Dayton Massacre, which is about 6 years ago now to the day. And then, like I said, it might have been about a week or so ago is when the actual anniversary was. I have to go check. And then it all started basically from there when all these Democrats here in Ohio tried to use that as a precursor to push gun control, to which then it started this backlash movement at the end of 2019, like October, November of 2019 is what it was there, so it was about 2 months after that, to where you had a couple different organizations starting up that were trying to then go county by county and do 2A sanctuary stuff in the state of Ohio. And the one that I specifically got involved with was called Stark Stands United, which was an offshoot of a group called Ohio Stands United, which was supposed to be like the main hub one is what it is or whatever. The problem was the jerk off from Cincinnati that was behind Ohio Stands United was simply a scumbag sellout piece of shit leftist who was only in it specifically to get enough of a fan base going in that group so that he could then turn around and turn into some bullshit pro Joe Jorgensen fucking group for 2020 is what it was there, which was so fucked up and so like not cool, man. And the reason that Stark Stands United basically distanced ourselves from Ohio Stands United at the time was because a lot of us that were either middle of the road or kind of right leaning at that time or whatever saw the leftism, the BLM terrorism, the Antifa bullshit going on within this group that was calling itself OSU is what it was there. And we were like, no, fuck these people. Like, I stayed in that group for longer than I probably should have, but I'm kind of glad I did because I was able to see like the switch off to the George Jorgensen bullshit is what it was there and how they were claiming to be the libertarians or whatever. But the thing is, though, is that while they were doing absolutely nothing for the movement of getting 2A rights and doing 2A sanctuary stuff, us and Stark Stands United and other people that were like just not even involved in any of these groups at all were the ones going out there and doing actual grassroots shit to get these counties to switch the stuff and change their status and stuff like that as a 2A sanctuary county is what it was there. So basically that was the progression of that in like 2019 to 2020, that was what it was. And of course all the lockdowns happened and that group kind of, it didn't really like fold, but it kind of just like folded in on itself where like none of us ever did anything after that. Like the leadership never did anything at that point. And then obviously the guy that was supposed to be the elected president at that time or whatever just kind of went off the reservation. Now he went from being a constitutionalist to this weird like shaman type of guy that does like this weird ass like chakra stuff, which I don't know, man. Like, I mean, that if you want to do that 5 years later, bro, that's on you. But like, I'm glad I mentioned when you were still a constitutionalist type at that point because that's why I'm at where I'm at right now is what it is in 2025. So anyway, fast forward from there, all the lockdown stuff happened in 2020 to 2021 and stuff like that. Around 2021 is when I created Ohioans for Firearms Freedom, and that was basically the group that I used to help get to a sanctuary or help get constitutional carry passed here in Ohio. And then obviously on the day that constitutional carry became law of the land is when Ohio Patriot Education Network became law or became a known entity in this state, what it was then, and is now what I consider to be the main group and everything. So basically, as it stands right now, anything that I personally have created when it comes to 2A groups and stuff like that, Ohio Patriot Education Network will always be like the main hub, kind of like how, like every town is for Bloomberg and anti-gunners and stuff like that. And then you have like these spiderwebs, like other groups like Muslim in Action and stuff like that on his side. So you basically, from my side, it would be Ohio Patriot Education Network would be the main one. And then we have other offshoots. We have Texas Patriot Education Network. We have Ohioans for Firearms Freedom, et cetera, et cetera. That would all be like these different like webs to them is what it is there. And like strings along the web is what it is there. So I'm really hoping to get T-Pen more off the ground pretty soon is what it is there. Because right now we don't actually have like a state director for that in Texas. It's kind of like a name thing that we're trying to basically get off the ground more in the last year or so is what it is there. But unfortunately, I haven't been able to get in contact with anyone there that would want to take on the name is what it is there. Because I would love to see that group and that offshoot group do something better for the state of Texas is what it is there. And if nothing else, we can get like Colorado or somebody else like that to embrace their Patriot Education Network then. And it would be part of our moniker is what it is then. It would be awesome because we could then have much more viability. Or even if someplace like Oregon wanted to be another open for that matter, that's fine with me, dude. Like, go ahead and do that. Here's the name. Use it. Make 2A rights better in your state than it is there. So, but yeah, that's basically the gist of where I stand right now when it comes to 2A rights stuff and whatnot. And obviously, I spent over a year of my life personally to get constitutional carry here passed in the state of Ohio, and nobody really ever gives me credit for it, what it is, which really does piss me off in some cases because, you know, you got people like Chris Dorr from Ohio Gunners being like, oh, it was all us. It's like, no, dude, it was literally like 50% me, motherfucker, or at least like 30% me anyway, because I know there's other people that were like individuals that were doing that on their own time as well. But like, yeah, like I guarantee I was like I almost guarantee you, if it wasn't for me making calls to state reps by the dozen every single day and like basically bringing these people's feet to the fire and like dragging them in it, basically, they would have never taken that shit to floor votes is what it is, man. So like, I'm definitely very much a hub when it comes to how the shit got passed in the state, basically. So I would appreciate the credit at some point is what it is, you know. I'd appreciate the pat on the back. Thanks, Adam, for helping us get our rights is what it is. So, but anyway, I'm not just going to sit there and toot my own horn or anything like that, but like, I'm just going to tell you the truth of this, dude. Like, I could have sat there and done nothing for a year, but no, I fucking got on the phone every single day. And, you know, if you guys remember when I was still hanging out at Guns and Barbecue and stuff like that, like, it was on one of his chats. Then I was like, I felt like I could finally breathe for once when it finally got passed. And that was like this huge weight being lifted off my shoulders and off my chest is what it is, dude. And that's because I was under so much stress, like just trying to get things done there and make sure these anti-gunners didn't get a fucking foothold at all is what it was there. And mind you, I did that with no money at all behind me. I did that with no money. I did that with no donations, nothing. That was all me on my own time doing actual volunteer work is what it is, dude, to help 2A rights in this state and in this country. And for people to sit there and be like, oh, you've done nothing for, like, fuck y'all, man. I've done so much more for 2A movement in this country than most of you motherfuckers out there will ever do in your entire lives. So, and I continue to do stuff like that every single day of my life is what it is. And that's why to be, you know, sort of cut out for something you say is just absolute bullshit is what it is. So, and yeah, I'll still hold a grudge against John forever is what it is then, because everything he did to me is what it is there. So, and I will never be part of that idiot's fucking circle ever again, because that dude is a narcissistic nut job. So, I have no problem saying that either for that matter. But anyway. Yeah, that being said, that's where I'm going to be at for today, though. And yeah, it's like 10 minutes of 10 right now. So I think I'm going to go watch the rest of those Alien Earth shows. I started watching the one this afternoon, and then I kind of just like, I was like, oh, I'm getting too tired, man. I just nodded off as it was. So yeah, need to watch the rest of those then, because I will say, though, that first episode, it was not great. It was like an hour-long episode, and it took, or a little over an hour-long episode, and it took like the first like 35 minutes to even have something good happen. So, which is pretty pathetic, honestly. And then even then, it was like barely anything good happened in that first episode at all. So, which I get, you got to introduce like characters and like kind of build a backstory and stuff like that. But it's like, I don't know, man. I feel like that could have been done in like 2 or 3 scenes at most, and then if nothing else, just do like some flashback stuff later on or something like that, instead of like pissing away like half the episode, introducing like these boring ass characters, only to then turn around and be like, oh, here's the alien. So yeah, I don't know. I personally prefer Predator myself, just because I think it's a better story overall. Like, the alien story was always just kind of weird. And yeah, I'm just not a huge fan of it. So, I mean, I get why people like it, but like, I don't know. I just never personally really care for that franchise. I mean, I've tried watching those movies a few times here and there, but it's just like, eh. So, I don't know. Maybe, I don't know if it's like the face hugger thing for me or what it is, dude, but like, I don't know, something like that. It's just weird. So, maybe it's just like chest bursters and stuff like that kind of situation. I don't know. But either way, it's just like, again, one of those things where it's just like, yeah, not really my cup of tea is what it is. If I'm going to watch a horror film, it's going to be something like, probably like Jason or, so it'd be like Friday the 13th, or maybe like Texas Chainsaw Massacre or something like that, or maybe even just some random one-off horror movie or something like that. Maybe like a vampire horror film or something like that is what it is. Or like some werewolves or something like that. So, I don't know. I prefer other genres is what it is. So, one of these days I should really watch The Expanse, but I don't really want to spend like a month of my life doing that is what it is. Because I'm sure, given how long that show was on, I probably would take me to do that. Because I'm not just going to sit there and like marathon the shit in like a week or two. It would take me like a month or so to get it done. So, I don't know. I do prefer true crime stuff though quite a bit. That's probably The Autistic Mind is my guess. I would like to solve a cold case, honestly, in my life. I think that'd be cool. I doubt it'll ever happen, but you never know, man. It would be kind of cool though to say that you were like the person that solved like some kind of cold case homicide though. So, or that you were like a linchpin in the solving of the case or whatever, where it's like, you know, everybody else like just set it aside or whatever, and now you just look at it from like fresh eyes and you're just like, hey, did you guys ever think about this thing here or whatever it is then? And it's like the detectives that were on the case are like, oh, wait, what? And then they do figure out that it's like some crazy guy over here or something like that then. I will say the first season of True Detective was the best season of that show. Everything else was just kind of, yeah, after the fact. Like, it just seemed to get progressively worse, like, by the season. And I think maybe it was the acting from some of the other actors and stuff like that. Like, it just wasn't as good at characters or whatever, or as good at backstory. I didn't even bother watching the last season or so of that show just because it looked like it was stupid as fuck. So, but yeah, it's just, I don't know. I feel like there's some series like that are good, and there's some that are mediocre, and then of course, like the longer they go on, they get worse and worse. So, and then of course, you got a franchise. You know, obviously, there's going to be some stinkers in there, and there's going to be some good stuff in there, and it's going to be a whole thing then. So, who knows? But either way, that's where I'm at for the day. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and like I said, I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace out. Stay safe. Stay vigilant. Always be carrying. Always know where your exits are. Be situationally aware of your surroundings and who's in them. And never get caught with your pants down, because you never know what kind of crazy shit's going to pop off at any given time. And you don't want to be a victim in some big old place where you could easily have been the person that stops potential massacre from happening. Later, y'all.